guys, this is your warning. We do post up spoilers. At times we're relatively offensive. We use vulgar language. So if you think that any of those are gonna offend you in any way, shape, or form, take your step back right now. Because, buddy, this is not the place for you. Anywho, have fun listening to us. And yeah, this has been your final warning.
Hello and welcome again to another episode of Cinematic Anarchy. And of course, with me today we have
Piper. Hello. How y'all doing?
And we are going to be sitting down. I don't know, how are you doing actually? How are you?
I'm here.
I am.
No, I'm actually pretty good.
I'm going to see how talkative I can be, because the more that I move my mouth, the more I want to scream in anguish. I am currently dealing with a bit of a toothache. We won't get into the deep of it, but I'm on some antibiotics and some pain medication, and yeah. Oh, what is going on? People need to stop ringing in. Stop chiming in, please, people. No.
Don't they know you're recording?
No, apparently they do not know that I'm recording. And if I could silence them, I would, but I cannot silence them currently because this thing is just a pain in the butt. So.
You cannot silence the masses!
I feel free. Feel free. Oh, you know what? I can mute them. I can mute them until I change it. So I'm going to go ahead and mute these people that are bing bing in all of my little feeds here. We're done. That should mute them. They should shut up for a little while. I'm on this thing on Facebook. They have different podcasting groups, and I've noticed one thing about the podcasting groups on Facebook is that absolutely nobody works together at all. They don't work together at all.
They don't collaborate or anything?
It's not that they don't collaborate. I'm sure that there are people that reach out to other people, but what you're dealing with in general within a lot of these podcasting groups is people either posting their material but not bothering to check anybody else's stuff out, or people that are trying to push really sleazy promotional scams, which essentially is them just kind of, they've got a PC set up at home where they can, press a button and several different apps will go off at the same time and it'll listen to your podcast, but it's not organic. It's not actually people listening to it. It's them providing you listens that mean nothing. And when you stop paying them, the listens will go away.
Yeah, I get a lot of that kind of stuff on Instagram, but like, oh, your Instagram would look better like this, or we can get you this many people, real people looking at your shit. And they're like, oh, we noticed you have an OF. We can get you tons of subscribers. And I'm just like, no, you can't.
Hello, person that we think is naive enough to believe us. We would like to let you be the promotional person to promote our products. Would you like to wear our jewelry and our makeup and or our clothes, and then you can promote our stuff on your feed? No.
I get a lot of the jewelry ones.
I get a lot of, sportswear, and I'm sitting here like, okay, too. Like urban sportswear, and I'm looking at you. Have you seen a single picture of me? A single picture of me. The closest thing I get to sportswear is a day where I'm too lazy to put on real clothes, and I just throw sweats on from head to toe. That's the closest I get. You might be able to sell me like a Joe Pesci or Tony Soprano tracksuit, That's about as close as you're going to get. You get head to toe, just red Adidas tracksuit with a backwards cap, and I would look horrible, man. I won't do that.
I told one, I was like, yes, I run my mouth, but and I also lift a fork to my mouth, but still.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You cut out for a minute, so I'm assuming you said food to your mouth.
A fork to my mouth.
Fork to your mouth. Okay. Yeah. Your feed is cutting out a little bit, just back and forth. I'm getting. Yeah, it happens. You got a crappy feed where you are. The internet is not good.
Duck a duck.
I do not want to. Thank you. I have never been attracted to the Affleck duck, no matter how nice the down might feel. It might feel, yeah. You gotta like the feathers. But not that much. Not that much.
I didn't think you were into cloacas.
No, I have
or corkscrew penises.
I have no anticipation of ever wanting to fuck a goose down pillow. I think we're good. That being said, we're going to talk about a child-friendly movie, which none of that sounds like child-friendly at all. This podcast is not child-friendly in movie.
But we don't talk about child-friendly shit.
They definitely could have made this something that wasn't child-friendly, you know? They could have.
I like it as it is.
I do. I love it as it is. I don't like the sequel to it, but I love this movie.
I did not watch a sequel to it.
I'm surprised. You live in Georgia. You've never seen the Larry the Cable Guy sequel to this? Larry the Cable Guy
as
versus...
much as I think he is a funny guy, I did not want to watch a sequel to Jingle All the Way because I didn't think it needed one.
I do think it needed one, but we'll discuss that on the second half of the podcast. For right now, we'll discuss of this movie. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. Jingle All the Way. Jingle All the Way is the movie that we're talking about. The movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger in a deep, deep battle with Sinbad as a mail delivery man for the Turbo Man doll, the hot toy of the year.
Also starring Phantom Menace star Jake Lloyd and Tom Hanks' wife, Rita Wilson.
And don't forget, bless him, Phil Hartman.
And?
Richard Mall.
There we go. That's where I was going.
That's his name. That's Richard Mall. Okay, we have several people in this particular... Is that another person chiming in? Well, I swear I will kick these people. I will kick these people.
I couldn't hear them.
You're not hearing it on your end, but I'm hearing it on my end. I'm hearing the... Because we're trying to do this through Facebook. It's a Facebook... I should be doing this through something that doesn't go bing every time somebody fucking chimes in on another page. I should be...
We tried on Discord, but your stuff didn't like it.
Discord was horrible. It's not my stuff didn't like it. Your feed was worse on Discord than it was on here.
That's weird, considering I was actually in a place with good internet at that time.
So I'm lying. Whatever.
No, I didn't say you're lying. I was just saying. I'm saying it's weird.
I'll get defensive if I want to get defensive.
You know what? Be as defensive as you want to be. What the hell?
You good?
Yeah, I think I was. I thought I was having a sartorial problem, but I'm not.
I'll leave that alone. Okay. We have a lot of people within this movie that are no longer with us. It was really... I loved Phil Hartman. So, just to watch him in this movie being this kind of sleazy, swarmy character, I miss him. Because every character that he played really had some level of being sleazy.
Wait, did he play Santa?
No, he didn't play Santa. Phil Hartman played the next-door neighbor that was hitting on Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife.
Right. Oh, my God.
Or literally any single woman within the area.
I don't see how all these women thought he was hot, though.
He was recently divorced. He is technically now a single father and on the market. But he was also very charismatic.
Okay, true. And he knew how to do a lot of stuff, like around the house stuff, which women seem to love about men when they can do stuff around the house.
But he was like, you could tell, he was the two-faced guy. He was a different guy when the women were not in the room. Because the second, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger's wife was out of the room, he started yelling at the kids. Right?
In his defense, he had just burnt his hand on a cookie.
So what? He was a duplicitous motherfucker. You know that. I'm going to show you one face. He was also like that guy that like double speaks to you a little bit. He's saying one thing, but you can tell that he means something completely different, especially when he's talking to Arnie on the phone. He's like, no worries, your wife is taken care of. She's taking a shower. It's like, you're at the house and she's taking a shower.
Double entendres.
Oh, yeah. Keep your hands off my cookies! Don't touch my cookies!
Put that cookie down! Put that cookie down! Now!
Oh, these cookies. I've got to get the recipe. Put that cookie down now! I just want to go back and watch Kindergarten Cop. Him angry in a comedic movie. I've always loved Arnold Schwarzenegger as the comedian version of himself.
Yeah. You bring up Kindergarten Cop and I'm just thinking, it's not the tumor!
No, well, I think that you think that. I'm thinking about the little kid. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina.
That movie would not get made these days.
No, it's
sad.
Yeah, no. Well, they tried to
people want to cancel all these movies.
They tried to do a second Kindergarten Cop, I think, with Dolph Lundgren. Yeah, I think they were just expecting big guy with an accent to go over as well as Arnold Schwarzenegger. But I don't think there's anything funny about Dolph Lundgren.
I agree. Like, I like him in action movies, but that's pretty much where my liking him stops.
Okay. There's almost nothing funny about Dolph Lundgren. Dolph Lundgren wearing fur underwear in the He-Man movie.
Okay, I actually love that movie. I love Masters of the Universe.
Oh, no.
I do.
I love it for how terrible it is.
I love it. It was actually one of my mom's favorite movies.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. We're going to have to talk about that movie at some point. How much you love it and how much I hate it. I hate that.
We can do it.
I hate that I like it.
You like the movie?
I don't love it.
I'm confused.
I love to hate it and hate to like it. Let's just put it that way.
All right, back to Jingle All the Way.
I mean, Christina Pickles was in that movie.
Christina Pickles?
Is that her name? Am I wrong? That basically Ross and
You thinking of Courtney Cox?
No, the one that plays their mother in Friends. Courtney Cox and Ross's mother, Monica and Ross's mother, was also like the White Witch or whatever her name is. I can't remember her name now. You're going to make me look it up. You have to look it up. Please look it up.
I'm looking it up.
But I believe that if I'm not mistaken, that was Christina Pickles. We're
looking at the woman who played Evelyn.
No, not Evelyn.
Who's she playing in Masters of the Universe?
She played the one that they captured. The one that he was using as bait to try to bring her back.
Oh, the woman all in white.
Yeah, Christina Pickles played the sorceress of something or other. Yeah, but either way, she played the sorceress. All sorts of dead air here. We're gonna have to cut all sorts of dead air out.
Well, my shit decided to be slow all of a sudden, so I don't know.
I brought it up. She played the sorceress. She was like the good character opposed to the female Evelyn character.
But the woman who played Evelyn, the
woman who played Evelyn is fucking amazing. Not Chelsea Field. Meg Foster. Meg Foster has those eyes. She was really big in the 80s and 90s. Those eyes were just... That's what made her. That crystal blue,
Is Meg Foster the one who played Hera on Hercules and Xena?
Not entirely sure. It's possible. I have never...
Because that woman has I think she did. Yep, she did.
She did? She played Hera?
She did.
You don't sound sure now.
No, I'm pretty sure. Television.
Pretty sure.
Going through everything right here. I have to get through the 80s. Yep, I'm sorry. On Hercules and on Xena, she played Hera.
I have it right here in front of me. I figured that out before you, but I was waiting for you to be sure.
Asshole.
I'm the kind of asshole who invites people on the podcast, doesn't warn them, and says, hey, by the way, you're doing the synopsis. Go. Just... In the podcast that if you listen religiously, all of the 10 of you, there is a podcast that we did just before this one on Deadly Games, Dial Code Santa Claus. Dan and Brett from Clockout Films, they joined us for that movie, and I threw Brett completely under the bus. Oh, no, I didn't throw him under the bus. I asked both of them to do the synopsis, and Dan was like, go, Brett. He's like, I had to do it the last time.
It was funny how they did it, because it was like, you're like, all right, since y'all are here, y'all do the synopsis. And Dan's like, okay, so, Brett, how about you take it? Like, he was going to do it, and it's like, nah, fuck it. Brett, you got this.
It's on you. Go ahead. Just like, and Brett feels like he's been thrown under the bus. And he's like, I apologize. I was not prepared for this. Please forgive me for that synopsis.
But it was a pretty good synopsis.
It was. He did a pretty good job of doing the synopsis. It was just...
He did. I enjoyed doing this with him.
We're definitely inviting them back on. I'm feeling like they're going to be, hopefully, mainstays on the podcast, like guests that come back, recurring roles, so to speak.
Recurring
roles. And we're going to hopefully bring our good friend Sarah back after the first of the year. She'd like to... we're supposed to be talking about Jingle All the Way, and I'm talking about other people that are going to be on. This is where my ADHD bites me in the ass every single time, because I'm like talking about one thing, and then my brain goes, oh, what about this?
You're definitely like, a squirrel. Let's get across the road. Ooh, a nut.
My face hurts. Can you imagine how fucking all over the place I'm going to be when I can talk better?
Mercury's in retrograde. My emotions are all over the place.
I feel like I got punched in the jaw. Either way, Sarah.
Yeah, I don't feel that way.
From Two Chicks Talking Flicks, which we have to actually get you both on the podcast at the same time.
Yes,
should be
please. I'd like to finally meet her.
She should be coming back after the first of the year to sit down and do a older Ewan McGregor and Cameron Diaz film called A Life Less Ordinary.
Looks like I got a movie to watch.
It is a weird, romantic action film. It's very weird.
Well, I watched that Guy versus the Volcano. I'm pretty sure I could watch this.
This is weirder. This is weirder.
This is weirder?
Oh, yes. This is definitely weirder. See?
Stop thinking.
This time it's our friends. See, they keep chiming in, and I hate to put Dan and Brett on mute, but I have to. I at least for the next hour or so, I have to put them on mute. I have to put everybody on mute. I should have put everybody on mute. Please do not call me until I am ready to be called.
Yes, because everybody has ESPN and can tell.
Right.
Well, ESP.
It's not like I told Dan and Brett that we were recording tonight. I just told them, hey, I'm going to do this other thing with her on Jingle All the Way, and then I didn't tell anybody about the next podcast after that, where I'm sitting down and doing Elf with a friend of mine and her kid. I'm a little all over the place.
Yeah,
lately.
I thought my feelings were going to be hurt until you said you were doing Elf, and I was like, yep, nope, I'm good.
You and Piper both have no love for Will Ferrell. None.
Yes, me and Piper do not have love for Will Ferrell.
I found somebody that has love for Will Ferrell and is obsessed with Will Ferrell to the point that they even went to the local Elf bar. There's an Elf bar.
You realize you said you and Piper, as in I am Piper.
Piper?
So I don't know who else you were talking about.
Did I? Oh,
I am Piper.
This is
and Piper, and I'm like, I am Piper.
This is the pain medication, and I'm fairly sure it's not the amoxicillin that's doing anything. It's the pain medication that's just fucking me up. All right, so let's get back to talking about Jingle All the Way, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. How did you feel about this film?
I love it. Me and my mom used to watch it almost every Christmas holiday.
Okay.
It was actually one of her favorite movies, so it's like I had a lot of fond memories watching it, and then watching it again, it's like I might have shed a few tears because missing her and stuff, but I got through it. It was good. It was nice nostalgia.
We forgot about the other person that had passed away from this film. Vern Troyer also passed away.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Wait, isn't the Big Show also gone?
No, the Big Show is not gone. He left WWE. Oh. He's currently in AEW, I think. I believe AEW. But this is back when the Big Show wasn't quite as big. He was the trim show. He was shirtless. He was shirtless in this, and he didn't have the big gut that he has in like everything that he's done lately. He was shirtless and still hairy.
I mean, I'm not complaining. That's the Santa I'd let do some things.
Well, I mean, this is one of the few guys.
I didn't know he was 7 foot tall.
He's a big. You had to get a big guy to be able to dwarf Arnold Schwarzenegger and make him look small.
Well, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger is only 5'9".
Right, but he everything that he's done and almost every movie that he's been in, they make him look so much bigger than he is.
That's because they cast these tiny women.
Well, and apparently tiny men too. Am I wrong? Even when he's standing next to other guys in movies, outside of this one where they made him look average across the board, almost every other movie that I've seen him in, they film it in such a way that makes him look like the biggest thing on screen.
A lot of trick angles, possibly platform shoes. He's possibly standing on boxes.
He's wearing those Ron DeSantis heels. It's
it's like a trick of the thing, like something I learned from watching excerpts of Smallville. When your actor is tall, like I think Tom Welling was like 6'2", 6'3". Kristen Crook, who played Lana, was only like 5'2", 5'3". They had to, when they wanted them in a shot together, she had to stand in heels on a box so that they could be almost somewhat, so they could get them in a frame together.
It's like, okay, this isn't working. Lana's head is down below, and this looks awkward. Every other scene, she looks like she's like right there, ready to kiss him. This scene, she looks like she's ready to kiss something. Not his lips.
She's gonna kiss a head, just not the head on the shoulders.
He's getting a little ahead of Superman there. Wait, no. Anyway. I honestly, that's probably my favorite scene in the entire movie, him having to try to fight the Big Show.
I think my favorite scene is actually not that one. It's the one where he's doing all this action stuff. It's like, kind of give that whole, like, Arnold's been an action hero while trying to get that damn Super Bowl.
Oh, okay, the chase scene with the infant that got the ball, right?
Yeah, like jumping down onto the piano, trying to, like, crawl through the stuff.
The just shy of Arnold committing an act of child abuse in the movie. Just
pretty much.
He was gonna throttle that kid for putting the ball in his mouth. Just give me the ball. Come here,
like,
give me the ball.
Here, little girl. Yeah. He was, you're gonna stick things in your mouth. It ain't gonna be. It's you too early for that.
I wasn't even thinking. Oh, good lord. Okay.
I'm awful.
Yeah, take it a little dark. Why don't you? I don't know that. That dark or is that blue? Which way does that go? Dark, blue?
Maybe it's navy.
Navy. Maybe it's Maybelline. Anytime I hear maybe that's the first thing that pops into my mind. Fucking 80s commercials like ruined my brain for so many things. Where's the beef? Beef? Where's the beef?
But no, that him going through like chasing after the child, or I guess just running to the mall trying to get towards the child, like that whole like action star like calling was like there.
Every action scene that he had in the movie felt Jackie Chan-esque because he did all the pratfalls, especially the very ending of the movie where he is Turbo Man. And he has no control of that suit whatsoever. So, like, the scene where he flies into the building and then just... Do you remember the scene where he kind of flew into the wall and then he just kept hitting the wall repeatedly?
Yeah.
It's like, this is absolutely fantastic. I don't know if you've ever seen an old TV show, maybe early 80s, The Greatest American Hero, starring William Catt, where this absolute clod of a human being ends up being given like a super suit by an alien race that endows him with superhuman powers of like strength, flight, so on and so forth. But it's this bumbling idiot that he can't figure out how to fly, so all the flying scenes are of him just kind of flailing around, trying to get where he's supposed to get to. He always lands awkward, and it's like The Greatest American Hero. That is definitely like them trying to say, yeah, right, no. He's the greatest American hero. Are you sure there's nobody better for the job? Can you call the cops? I know he can lift the cop car above his head, but I'm afraid of where he's going to put it now. It was a great bit of superhero comedy before superhero things were really big.
Speaking of the Santa Claus fight scene,
yes,
I will say, like, when the cops bust in and everything, the funniest thing to me in that whole thing is Vern Troyer running under the table.
I thought it was the other elf, like the other short elf, just kind of being taken out by 4 separate cops. He's like, they're holding him, but it's this little guy. And they're basically 4 guys holding him. 2 got his legs, 2 got his arms, and they're kind of taking him out. Like, it took 4 of you guys.
I think that's after they catch him.
Yeah, that's after they catch him. When they're taking everybody out of the building.
Is it that one? I mean, is it Vern Troyer or is it the other one? Oh, God, I forgot his name. I know he played in Charmed as one of the seven dwarves for one of the fairy tale episodes. Because he was also the main guy with the actual Santa at the mall.
No, Vern Troyer is the one that ran between the legs and run to the table.
Yeah, I'm talking about the guy that was taken out like with 4 cops. Because he's like, I'm not going back.
No, I'm not entirely sure what his name is. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember.
Because I think he's the elf who was actually at the mall with Santa.
It's entirely possible. I can't remember his.
It's like, he's a good actor. Like, he was in Charmed a few times, and he played one of the 7 dwarves.
It's Danny Woodburn playing Tony the Elf.
Yes.
He's in everything. Like, he's one of those guys. There's just a handful of actors within the Hollywood acting community for, what is the PC term now? It's not little people, I know that much. It's something else.
I don't know.
Uh,
Well, I mean, well, you also,
Americans
there
of
was
diminutive stature. Let's call it that for now.
well, there was also a guy on. They were talking about this for the new Snow White movie that's supposed to be coming out. It was a guy with dwarfism complaining. He's like, "We're dwarves. It's what we are."
Right.
So I don't know it's PC anymore because you got some of them saying, "Let's call him this," and then you got others who say, "We prefer to be called this."
My problem is that I kind of all lump them under the same heading because there are specific traits that make for different things. And so if you call one a certain thing when they're not specifically that particular, I'm trying to go the nice route. I mean, I can have a foul mouth. I do offensive things sometimes. I said the word mongoloid on another podcast, and I immediately regretted it the second it rolled out of my fucking mouth. Like, when I say something that I feel might have been offensive, all of a sudden my brain is like, I am fucking mortified. What did I do?
Well, you should know that I've started calling a lot of things mongoloids, like when I play Mortal Kombat and stuff, when they make me mad.
I don't know how I feel about that. I feel I've triggered something in you that might be unforgivable. It's entirely possible.
I'm awful. We just said this. I'm awful.
I am awful, but also overly apologetic. Like, I'm one of those guys that will... I don't mean to say something, but, like, if you knew my mother, if you knew my parents growing up, you would understand how some of these things... You kind of end up being a product of who raised you. So a lot of the things and a lot of the ways you go out into life, it's a product of the people that you grew up around, the people that you raised you. And I'm sitting here and I thought to myself for a minute, my mother, I always considered her a loving human being, but I feel she was definitely low-key racist. Like, low-key. Not the kind of thing that she would wear on her sleeve. But I had to look back over all the interactions that I've had with my mother and all the things that she did. Like, I noticed my mother was a foster mom. She got sick. She was an RN for a while, but she couldn't continue to do that job because of the illness she had. So she became a foster mother. She took the love that she had for older people and she took in children. So did that for several years. Kids came in and out of the house. We were that stopover before the kids went to their actual adoptive homes or whatever. So we would have anywhere from like 5 to 6 children in our house at any given time. Yeah, sometimes 2, sometimes 6. So we had 4 bedrooms. I had 1, and then there were like bunk beds in the other bedrooms for the kids to kind of spend time, blah, blah, blah. I hadn't thought about it until I started relaying another story on another podcast, which I can tell you that if you really want to hear it. But it ends in me actually sitting down, and until recently I didn't think. There was never anybody but a bunch of little white kids coming through my house. Nothing. And I'm sitting here like, okay, my mother is a foster mom, but she has never had anything but white children come through the house, and I am fairly certain. We're not the adoptive home. As a foster home, they're not quite as ethnically discerning. Like, we're not going to put anybody that is ethnically opposite of you in your home. That's not how that works. That is, you're a foster home, can you please take in this kid? You know, if you're qualified to be a foster parent. And because I know other foster parents now, and like their houses are filled with ethnically diverse populations, you know. I don't know how to put how to put it other than that. So I started thinking to myself, I'm like, my mother's a little bit more racist than I thought she was. The story goes, the one that I'm telling you while we should be talking about Jingle All the Way. My brain's gone off on I don't know where the racist part of my brain went. Oh my God, my mom's a racist. Let me tell you. But
it started with mongoloids.
Yeah, no, right. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, I was brought up and my parents would say shit like that. And my father was horrible. My dad, for all that I don't love him. I tolerated him. He was my stepfather. I don't know my biological father. I've never met him. But as a stepfather, he loved my mother to death and would go to the ends of the earth for her, but hated all the kids. Hated me. Oh, yeah. Like, he did just enough to woo me as a potential, you know, stepson, so to speak. like by taking me out to like basketball games and wrestling things. And as soon as that ring was on my mom's hand and they were married, fuck all if any of that ever happened again. Forget it. We couldn't even go over to Canopy Lake, which was like 2 towns over from where I'm currently living, which is like the local amusement park. So one day I'm sitting at home and I'm doing, I think, my homework at the table. And you see this van starting to drive down the street. And first thought in my head is, oh God, here come the Mormons. Because that's what usually happens. They all pile out of the van, they come and knock at your door. And a couple of kids that were dressed well come to our door. And it's 2 African-American kids. And so they're trying to sell this, you ever heard of the ShamWow? Basically those cloths that are supposed to absorb, they were basically selling them door to door to make money. I don't know what for. It could have been a Mormon thing. It could have been Boy Scouts. It could have been some random fucking school thing for all I know. I don't know. Could have been legitimately the ShamWow company trying to get their shit out. Hey, we don't have an infomercial yet. We don't have that guy to do our infomercial yet. So let's just go door to door and try to get this product out there because TV's not a big thing right now. And so my mother is barely opening the door, kind of peeking out and letting them talk. And she turned them down flat. Turn them down. They walk away. She didn't buy a damn thing. Not more than 45 minutes later, the van's coming back up the street, and 2 white kids get out of the van and come down the way. Don't know if they forgot that our house was the one that turned down their friends earlier, or if they're doing some kind of racist social experiment to see who are the assholes on this block. Okay, we're going to mark this one down right here. We've got Democratic racist piece of shit. I believe that's probably what was happening. You know, they're just like, okay, let's see how many racists live on this block. They're doing a whole book on racism, you know, and then they go down the block and they send all the black kids out. And then when they come back, they send all the white kids out. And then they take a tally of how many people sent the black kids away and actually bought from the white kids directly afterwards. Because that's what my mother fucking did.
Oh,
the
God.
Kids come down, give the same spiel. This time, the door is wide open. She's practically standing directly in front of them, listening to them, and she bought 5.
Damn.
So not only was that a racist thing, but that was like uber racist. That was the first moment in my life when I realized that my mom might be a racist, because she comes back in with those ShamWows, and I'm like, what in the actual fuck, Mom? Do you even know what you just did? Because you know that those 2 kids are getting back in the same van as the 2 kids you turned down earlier. And they're going to be like, look what we got. And those other kids are going to be like, wow, those are some racist motherfuckers over there. It's like, I don't know them. I've got to go to the high school in a few years. I'm going to get my ass kicked because you were racist about ShamWows. Thanks, Mom. Motherfucker.
I had a very different upbringing.
Yeah.
Have you seen The Help?
Yes, I've seen The Help.
You know, oh God, her name's escaping me, and she's an amazing actress. The one who played Aibileen.
Okay.
Viola Davis.
Viola Davis, all right.
Yeah. She played Aibileen. She was the one who was really nice to the little white girl. It was like, he was kind, he was smart, he was important.
Yes.
Take that character, and my family, well, my mom, my aunt, and my grandfather and grandmother had a woman working for them like that.
Oh, no, you had that.
So, well, I didn't have it. My mother's mother died when my mother was 13. So, you know, that became like a second mother to her. And then when I was growing up, my mom would always take me to her house, like, because my mom was an LPN. So that woman, her name was Lizzie. We all called her too. And I called her grandma because to me, she was my grandma. She is set to me with like all her other kids, her grandkids. Like all of her kids were my aunts and uncles. All of their kids are my cousins. Like, and that's how we are till today. So it's like growing up, I didn't really look at color like that. So I was very lucky living in the South that I had my upbringing that I did.
I'm not a racist guy. Never have been. Ever. The problem is that with my upbringing and the fact that I lived in a primarily white town and went to a very, very white school to the point that there were pretty much only white teachers. I'm dead serious. All white teachers, pretty much all white students, with the occasion of having a child that was both white but also had a parent from, just check the box for the race here. You know, you'd have the white Asian or the white African American or whatever, and they'd end up in the house. But that's because
half white.
You know, there was at least one white parent there. Yeah, this is how fucked up my town was. You know, there was definitely some Nazi KKK shit going on there. I found out much later on when I was a teenager, and we ran into the random weird guy from town. Oh yeah, I used to hang around all these guys growing up, and they are definitely Nazis. You know, okay, that's interesting. Or not Nazis, KKK. Like they were like hardcore racists. Most of the people in that town.
Oof. See, that's why I'm glad I had the upbringing I had.
The kids,
it's like my parents weren't racist.
Don't get me wrong, the kids that I grew up with weren't racist. For the most part. I mean, there were a couple of kids here and there. You always have that asshole. But even though we went with a primarily white bread fucking town, most of those kids were not racist. To this day, I Facebook stalk idiots. I'm the idiot. You have those people that you grew up with that you somehow ended up friends with on Facebook, and you don't talk to them for fucking anything, but their pictures pop up in your feed, and you go, oh, that's nice, and you hit the like button, and you move on with your life, you know?
Yeah, I got a lot of those.
I've got probably about 1,000 and maybe 1,500 of those. From people, I went to several different schools, grew up with several different groups of people, and then, of course, there's different areas where I went to work, and I had those friends from work. And most of them don't talk to me anymore. Trust me, I tried to build a little podcasting group with a bunch of different people. There's only a few that stuck. I'm happy to have you around. Thank you.
Hi.
They're not racist people, but there was an undercurrent of racism going through the town in a lot of different aspects that, you know, like I said, it's nothing that was worn on the sleeve. It was definitely that kind of, you know, you talk about it behind closed doors kind of racism. You let certain things slip in the company of people who happen to be a photocopy of your particular race, you know.
Yeah.
So going out into the world and having absolutely no interaction with any ethnic group whatsoever outside of those people that may have been, you know, half white, half whatever. I was very nervous about what landmines I might step on. So I learned to be very overly apologetic around anybody that
wasn't white.
Wasn't white. Yeah, I mean that's the only thing that I could really say about it. And I've learned not to be an idiot since then. Several people have told me you don't need to be that apologetic. You just need to talk. Have a conversation with me. Be done. You don't have, if you get overly apologetic and overly weird, I'm not going to talk to you cuz then it's awkward for everybody.
That is true.
So anyway, Jingle All the Way. Getting back to that after 30 minutes of not talking about the movie. Getting back to it. I like the free-flowing conversation, but you do me a favor, when I get like this, just go, jingle all the way. I mean...
Well, I also don't want to be rude. It's one of those things like...
It's not rude. It's hey, dude, great, your stories are fantastic. However, you don't even have to say your stories are fantastic. You could be just like, can we talk about the movie now? You just yawn.
Oh, you know, I might find it interesting. Some viewers might find it interesting.
I may have told these stories several times before. I can't remember.
Or listeners.
I'm almost 200 episodes deep at this point. I have never. This is my ultimate goal. Cinematic Anarchy. I have never been in a position where I'm not on an episode. Nobody has been able to run this with me where they can take a couple people and just do an episode and I don't have to be on it. That's where I want to get. I want to have a group so that, okay, dude, I really can't do the podcast this week. Can you guys get together, record that, and just send me the stuff? I'll edit it and put it out. That's where I want to get to. Because I've almost done 200 episodes and I've never been missing once. If I'm missing, the episode doesn't happen.
You don't need to be gone. You got to be here for every single one. Come on.
Come on, at the very least, can I be comatose in my chair for an episode? Just you guys talk. I don't want to fucking do nothing.
Yeah, as long as you're recording, you can comatose all you want. Just don't snore.
I think I like Jake Lloyd in this film. I'm getting back to it. I'm moving over here again. I think I like Jake Lloyd in this film more than I liked him in Star Wars.
You want to know? I did something stupid earlier, and it goes with this movie. I took a drink because I have been drinking a little bit because it's my weekend off, and my feet have been killing me. My body's been killing me. I was like, I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna have a mean night. So I drank, and I was just like, "Here's to you, Dad."
Oh.
There might have been some emotion behind that, but still, here's to you, Dad.
I wouldn't know where to point if I said that. I've never met my father. I've actually contacted my cousin, who is the daughter of my father's brother, and we've tried to get together a couple times, but it's never happened. And it's like, I would really...
Oh, damn.
I don't want my... I'm getting on 50. I don't want my dad to take responsibility for me, but at the very least, I would like once to go and see face-to-face the guy. That's all I want.
The guy?
The guy. Hey.
The guy.
I came from somewhere, and it's that guy. I knew after I took my little ancestry test that I'm a fucking Haggerty, apparently. That's where...
A what?
A Haggerty. Haggerty. My father's name is Timothy Haggerty. I don't know why I gave away his full name on the podcast.
You can edit it.
No, it's not going to get edited. I don't edit that deeply. I don't. What?
Well, I mean, hell, my full name's out there, but then again, I'm an actress. And my full name's everywhere. Well, not like famous speaking, just all over my socials.
Right. I mean, my social media pages are, in a way, attached to my regular social media pages. So all the stuff for Cinematic Anarchy has direct links back to the pages that are just me. Because I am one of the hosts of the podcast. So...
Because you are Cinematic Anarchy.
I am not Cinematic Anarchy. I'm going to get a tattoo. I am.
You are?
It's almost 6 years of my life at this point. Why not?
Yeah.
Cinematic Anarchy. Even if I'm not doing the podcast anymore, I'm all about those crazy fucking movies. I love fucking weird movies. No,
I hope this podcast goes for a while.
Hey, I'm good. I'll keep going as long as other people want to sit down and talk, and I want to get into it further. You know, I want to be able to afford the time, have the right equipment, and be able to kind of branch out. I want to. That's what I mean, though. It's like I want to be able to set up podcasts. Like, hey, okay, we're gonna go ahead and set up a podcast. It's gonna be you and this person. You guys are gonna do this thing, and then I don't even have to be part of that. You guys just record, send me the audio, and we get it out there. You know, get a whole network of stuff set up.
That would be fun.
I am very proud to have had Dan and Brett on several times already. And they seem to be having fun, and it sounds like we're going to have them back again. And somebody else is texting me. I muted people. Oh, my God. Every time that bell goes off, I want to strangle someone.
I'm just trying to get funny because I can't hear it.
I'm going to have to go in and physically mute my notifications for like 3 hours at the start of every podcast because I didn't go into the app itself and just mute Messenger. I'm muting people individually.
Is it on your phone?
No, it's not on my phone. We are talking through Facebook, so I have Facebook and the Messenger. When you're on an actual computer, it pops up on the bottom. And so you have to mute people.
Right.
So I can use the app on my phone to mute the messages so that they don't continually go off, but I can't mute the fire trucks that are going on behind me right now. There's another one about to pass. You hear that shit? Did you hear that? I do. Yeah. I
did.
There's another one. And now that I've said, do you hear that shit? I can't edit it out. People have to be able to hear the fact that I can't soundproof this fucking place. Nothing.
Excuse me. Can you turn your sirens down? Y'all are being very rude.
I'm going to call the local police department. Hi, I'm recording here. I know people are dying and burning alive, but for fuck's sake, can you wait 5 minutes?
Can you put your sirens on mute and just go down the road with the lights on?
Their lives cannot be that important. Just... Anyway. Oh my God. So, back to the movie. One of my favorite things about this movie is his interactions with the cop throughout the movie that he keeps injuring. From the hands to the fucking explosive that he's like, ha ha ha, this isn't a bomb. Boom. You know?
I'm never gonna get over you broke my little mirror.
I love when he walks. He gets himself blown up by the package, and Sinbad is walking away. God damn, there was a bomb in that thing. What the fuck's wrong with people?
These people are sick.
What the hell's wrong with people? These people are sick. I know he doesn't cuss.
Oh,
This is a kids movie, basically, but
That reminded me, like, that whole thing right there with the bomb exploding, but you see him just all blacked out, burnt, whatever.
yeah.
It reminded me a little bit of George of the Jungle. It's like, don't worry, this is a kids movie. Nobody dies. They just get really big boo-boos.
It reminds me of every backfiring Acme experiment in the whole Coyote versus Roadrunner saga. Just boom. Is this a fucking cartoon? What's going on? Did the Looney Tunes make this fucking movie?
It's like, who survives a bomb?
And it was the cop chasing him down at the end of the movie that put Arnie in the position where he ended up in the fucking Turbo Man suit. And they're just stuffing him in the suit like, you're the guy, right? Yeah, what the hell has happened? And they're not even letting him talk. They're just stuffing him in this suit. And
that guy who's actually, like, telling him, like, running through everything, he's like, and this guy's showing a little bit of brain function. That's a really good sign.
It's like, don't forget this, don't forget this, don't forget this. And if you press the button a little too high, it might blow up. And wait, what? All right, go. Wait, no, hold on. Blow up what? Excuse me?
Oh, the guy who played Booster. I finally know where I remember him from, and it's from Supernatural.
Where do you remember him from?
Supernatural.
Supernatural.
I remember the guy from Supernatural from him being Booster in Jingle All the Way, because Jingle All the Way came out first, but when I was watching Supernatural, I was like, I know that guy, I know that voice. He almost sounds like another actor who passed away. He did Godfrey.
Gilbert Gottfried?
Yes, their voices are very similar.
Okay, yeah, that's very true. You know who Booster is. You have to know who Booster is. Curtis Armstrong?
He played in Supernatural.
Right, we were just talking about him earlier. He's Booger from Revenge of the Nerds.
Oh my god, that's him?
Yeah.
That's where I know him from?
He's Booger. You know him from a couple of things. He is everywhere. Curtis Armstrong is fucking amazing.
Apparently, I just didn't, like, sometimes my brain doesn't click from, like, his younger years till his older years.
I have to ask two quick questions. Number one, have you ever seen the movie Better Off Dead?
No.
Okay. That's a movie we're going to have to watch because one of my favorite Curtis Armstrong lines ever. Because they have a whole skiing competition that happens in this movie. And John Cusack and Curtis Armstrong are on top of the mountain. He goes, "Oh my God, do you see all this white powder? Do you know what the street value of this stuff is?"
Jeez.
Right? So it's an 80s movie making a cocaine joke. And then my second question is, did you notice Booster, the only article of clothing that this purple or pink Cybertooth whatever wears is a gold thong?
Yes.
The man's wearing a gold bikini like he's coming out, he's Rocky from the Rocky Horror Picture Show. I don't even know.
Well, and just you can make him a beast.
I don't know. It's all in all, okay. Favorite scene in the movie?
Favorite scene in the movie?
Yes.
The chase in the mall.
That's right. We already did this, didn't we? Favorite scene in the movie, the chase. Yeah, we
Your
did this.
favorite scene is him in the Big Show.
Yep, him in the Big Show. Yeah, okay, so we've already done this, and I am...
What is your least favorite scene?
My least favorite scene? I hate to say this, but my least favorite scene is any scene where Phil Hartman is hitting on his wife. Because it just felt creepy and weird.
I can agree, that was very cringeworthy.
Nothing against Phil Hartman. What he did was... you got the right reaction out of him. Because he was creepy.
He was doing his job.
He was doing his job. He was being creepy and weird, which is the point of the character. So, while that is the point of the character, it's also my least favorite part. You're just yupping me. Go on. What is your least favorite?
Sorry, I was just thinking about when after she hit him with the eggnog, and then he goes to get his kid. He's like, "Dad, what's going on? You smell like barf."
Okay, are barf and eggnog similar?
When I've drank eggnog, it didn't smell like barf.
It depends on what's in the eggnog, I guess.
I don't know what he put in it. I've only had eggnog straight. I've never had it with alcohol. And I
Oh
don't
my
drink it very
God.
often because eggnog is very rich.
I love eggnog with Southern Comfort in it. Little SoCo and eggnog.
Oh wait, Southern Comfort's a drink, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Sorry, like
What did you think
you
that
like to throw,
I want to
you
ask you.
like to throw your down pillows down into your eggnog and then drink it?
I'm, okay, I am not fucking my eggnog through a down pillow. Just, what are you doing? I'm just mixing up the batter. I don't.
Oh god.
I don't know where my mind went there. I was asking you what you thought I was talking about when I said Southern Comfort.
Yeah, that's where I was like, Southern hospitality, Southern Comfort.
I like a little Southern Comfort with my eggnog, and you're just thinking to myself, what, you just want some chick from the South up here every time they just serving you eggnog? I don't understand what's going on here. Sounds like a thing of servitude. That's a little sexist, man. What the fuck's wrong with you? No, that's not...
Like, honey, would you like some more eggnog?
Like, yeah, that's what I do. Every time I ask for eggnog, I'm like, hun, you have to break out that Southern accent or I ain't drinking shit. Come on. Get deep Tennessee on me right here. Get a little Alabama. I might be good for that, too. Come on. Get a little twang.
Get a little Georgia.
I'll be honest with you, Georgia barely has an accent. Georgia barely has an accent. It is so subtle.
I have one. Go ahead.
For me, it's so subtle that I only noticed it the first year that I lived there. And then it was just like nothing.
It's like, it's with certain words. Most of the time it's like with, we say y'all and yonder. For everything. But like when an accent comes out, it's normally like with words like I or anything like that. It comes out ah.
Here's the way that I realized how prominent the Southern accent is in Georgia. It wasn't when I was talking to anybody Caucasian, but I went to a white hen. It was like not a white. They don't call them white hen pantry down there. What do they call them? The golden pantry or something like that.
Golden pantry.
There we go. We have white hen pantry up here. It's like red hen down the street now. But went to a golden pantry down there, and there was a Pakistani gentleman working behind the counter. I only know that because we had a bit of a talk and he explained to me. But the first thought in my head was, I have never heard anybody talking with their own accent but with a Southern twang to it. So his Pakistani accent had a Southern twang to it, and that was the most prominent Southern accent I ran across in Georgia.
I am trying to picture this.
You have to. The problem is that you can't live there for all your life and realize it because you're around it all the time. It's only when you're outside of it. Like, I didn't think anything about the Massachusetts and Bostonian accents till I fucking moved back here because I lived around it all my life. Then I moved away from it and ingrained myself in the Georgia culture. And then I came back and I'm like, wow, you guys have some fucked up accents, man. Okay, maybe not. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah, the one time I went to New York and I ordered sweet tea.
Oh.
I swear the woman looked at me like I was like from another country.
Do you want iced tea with sweetener in it? Because we just have regular tea, and then, yeah, sweet tea is not a thing.
Yeah, it brings up this joke from Angela Johnson. It's like, in the South we call it sweet tea. Everywhere else they call it diabetes.
At any McDonald's you go to, it's still sweet tea. If you look at the menu at any McDonald's, it says sweet tea. It's sweet tea there? And then unsweetened tea. Yeah, any McDonald's here, it says sweet tea. We just got our
but
first,
if they gave sweet tea there, I'd be like, this don't have enough sugar.
We just got our first Raising Cane's down the street.
I've actually never eaten at Raising Cane's.
Raising Cane's is, I want to say, very close to Zaxby's. Like, almost spot on. It just tastes a little different. Personally, I like Zaxby's better.
I don't even like Zaxby's that much.
I don't like the waiting to get Zaxby's food, but they always say that, just like Raising Cane's, it's not a fast food place. You come here, you order your food, we cook it for you. We're not trying to, they don't cook ahead for you, they cook it as you order it. Which also makes me question, it's like I've only been out here for a few minutes and you already cooked my food? You sure that's not pink in the middle? That's a little fucking quick. Are you just microwaving these things as you go through? Because it does taste a little microwaved. Getting nuclear chicken here, 3 gizzards, couple peckers. Got a little beak in my sandwich here, man. Can I turn this back in? Okay, well, you didn't go with least favorite. What, did you tell me least favorite?
No, because I don't know if I have one.
You didn't have a scene that you just went and, oh, that's whatever. There's nothing.
Probably when that little kid was introducing his reindeer. Like, I named it Ted after my dad. I'm like, I'm about to say it, and I'm sorry in advance. I was like, you fat little fuck. I don't know why you act like you're so cool.
I can say fat fuck because I am a fat fuck. That's one of those things.
I'm a previously fat fuck.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not skinny now, but
I might not be a fat fuck. I'm a mildly chubby fuck. I'm losing weight.
I may have lost 120 pounds, so I think I can still say fat fuck.
If you go look at some old pictures of me from when we began the podcast, I was a big boy. And I've lost some weight because of my new job. I'm up on my feet doing a lot more now. All right. Before we stop talking about the movie in general, because we didn't walk through it really. We just sort of touched on things that we liked, and then you joined me on a little ADHD diatribe about several different things.
If you could, I'm joining you on a lot of those.
Both the best and worst actors in this film, who are they?
Best actor, it's going to be a tie between Arnold and Sinbad.
Okay.
For me. Worst actor, that little fat fuck.
The little fat fuck. I don't know how I feel about you calling him a little fat fuck now. That little fat fuck right there. That fat fuck. The fat fuck over there. The one that we called fat fuck. He's a fat fuck. Isn't he just a fat fuck? Hey, fat fuck. How are you, fat fuck?
You're making me wheeze.
Okay. I would have to say that if I'm going to give the best actor to anybody in this, I have to give it, as much as I don't like Phil Hartman, the character in this movie, I don't like them. I'm going to have to give him the best actor in the movie. I like Arnie, don't get me wrong. I love his comedic performances. However, if there was anybody that gave me a visceral feeling about their character in this movie, I don't like the character in this movie. But it's because Phil Hartman did such a good job of making him a little fucking slime ball that you can't hate. You love to hate the guy for how slimy he is. You know? And you love the fact that his son turns on him at the end of the movie. You know? I don't love you anymore. I love Turbo Man, which happens to be his dad. I don't love him. I don't love you. I love his dad now. I'm done.
Dad, you smell like barf.
This is me now.
All right, worst actor.
And the worst actor in the film. There's not a lot of bad actors in the film, but I don't really think I like Jim Belushi's role in this.
It's not one of his strongest ones.
He's done a lot of good movies, and this is just not a role that I enjoyed, honestly. I think Jim Belushi, I mean, he had a couple of great runs on TV. He's had several great movies. I think he's an underrated actor for what he is. You know, Obviously, he has to play down that he's the brother. You know, he's the surviving brother. And sometimes he gets caught up in it a little bit. And I think that they're expecting him to be his brother, and he's not. You know, he's his own thing. That being said, this role was not a great role for him. Every actor has that one or two roles. They're like, okay, I'm playing a bit part, and I didn't even really do that well.
If you could rate this movie 1 to 11, what is it?
1 to 11. It's not an 11, I'll tell you that right now. It's not getting turned up to 11. I'd give it a solid 8. I'd give it a solid 8. If we're ranking it as a Christmas movie alone, a solid 8.
Well, I mean, how else would you rank it?
If we're ranking it as a comedic family movie overall, I might give it a little lower, like maybe a 7.5. But as Christmas movies go, this is one of the go-tos. It's one of the better ones.
It's like, you know? I'd put this movie up there with the Santa Claus, the first one.
It's not a movie I'm going to watch in July. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's only something you watch at a certain time of year. Who the fuck's throwing on Jingle All the Way in the middle of July? Jingle in this July, there was words there. I really feel there was words there. Like I said, though, I got that toothache, and fuck, it's screwing with me. All right.
Yeah, we'll say those were words.
What would you rate?
I'd agree with it being an 8 for a Christmas movie.
Okay. Overall, what would you rate it, though, as a comedy?
I'd probably also give it an 8 because I do find it funny. It's like, it's not a movie I'm going to watch in July. You know, I'm not Disney who wants to put out Hocus Pocus in the middle of July type thing.
Hocus Pocus is just going to be on their site year round now, though. It's not. They just focus on it in July. I mean, not in July. Starting in July.
That's when they put it out. Like, when it came out, they put it out in July.
Right.
Because there was another movie coming out in October that they didn't want to try to compete with.
October's coming 4 or 5 months from now. You know, what are you doing?
Yeah, I think that was a downfall of why it didn't perform well, because when they released it in theaters this past October, it did really well. But yeah, it's one of those things. I'd give it an 8 all around, Christmas and comedic.
Okay, so you're giving I'd give it like a 7.5 all around, and you're going with 8, so that's a good 7.75 between the both of us.
I agree.
Okay,
that sounds fair.
Okay, we have to keep with this rating thing. I think we skipped over it the last time. I don't think we rated the last film. We were just so into talking about it, we forgot to fucking rate the whole thing. How would you rate this film?
Well,
I don't care. Let's move on. You know.
Well, in fairness, I didn't watch the last film.
No, you didn't
because it was not available in my region.
But you still sat through the discussion, which is impressive.
Is it?
Yeah. You know, I've had other people like, I didn't watch the movie. Okay, well, come down and sit with us and talk about it anyway. We'll spoil the fuck out of it for you. No, I'm good. Catch me next time. It's impressive that you're willing to sit there and listen to us ruin a movie you should have watched with us. But now it makes you more interested in watching it, right?
It does. Like, I need to find it.
So I feel like spoilers actually help some people want to watch the movie.
I mean, in the case of Dial Code Santa or Deadly Games, whatever you want to call it, or wherever it's released and it's called, like, in that case, yeah, it's a movie. With y'all talking about it, I did want to see it, because, like, yeah, y'all might have spoiled the plot and all that other stuff, but it's like, I'm not fully going to understand all of it and be able to put it all together until I actually watch it, and I do want to watch it.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and take a very quick break and let some other podcasts give you a little bit of a idea what they're about, and when we come back, we will be discussing how to properly make a sequel for this film. Or maybe not properly, just how we'd make it, because nothing we make for films are technically proper here. We just want to see crazy shit.
Like, let's not forget, we've also had a podcast where we talked about diamond butt plugs. I
remember the diamond butt plugs. Yes, not any diamond butt plugs, but Queen Latifah's diamond butt plug.
Exactly.
This is Two Chicks Talking Flicks, where we review movies. We try to dig deeper and go more in depth.
And profound for me.
Yeah, for me, I'm just like, what? We even bring up relevant topics.
I remember from Punky Brewster that you don't go inside the fridge.
And we're here to have those tough conversations.
Mm-hmm. And she was wearing a white dress, which
was yellow.
Huh?
It was yellow. So if this sounds like the podcast for you, please enjoy. New episodes every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
We are the hosts of the Strange and Beautiful Book Club. On the Strange and Beautiful Book Club, Matt and I share our adventures discovering forgotten movies, television shows, and books in the science fiction, horror, and fantasy genre.
Not necessarily good movies, though.
Oh, certainly not. We love a good, bad movie. The quirkier, the funnier, the more campy, the better.
But we talk about some classics, too.
Of course, we can't ignore our favorites like Highlander or the 1990s vampire cop television show, Forever Night, which we are currently covering one episode at a time.
As if I could forget.
Oh, hush. You love every minute of it.
Come join us every week as we discover, discuss, and dissect fantasy, horror, and sci-fi genre classics. New episodes release every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
So remember, sometimes the strangest things are the most beautiful, too.
So be who you are and love what you love. Until next time, friends.
Bye!
Hey, thank you once again for sticking around while we let our friends at other podcasts kind of promote themselves for a minute. It's really nice that you didn't hang up on us, or maybe you did, and we're now talking to 2 of the 10 people that were listening at the head of the podcast. Who knows? If you're still listening, we're going to go ahead and try to somehow come up with a sequel to this movie. And I'm actually really curious. I want to hear, because I already have an idea. I want to hear what Piper would do to create a sequel to this movie.
Oh, God. I was hoping I could kind of backflip off of you.
You're going to backflip off of me? You want me to tell you what I would do?
Yes.
I had so much fun putting Brett on the spot the other day that... First, before we get going, we are sitting here, we're doing a little video chat. We haven't gone live to any place yet. However, there's a little spot on your camera that is really bugging me right now because it makes you look like you got this white, like...
It's always there, and I don't know what it is.
It's the reflection.
Camera?
It's not your camera. It's the light. It's just the way that the light's bouncing off the lens. It's creating a...
It's that light?
Yeah, it's that light. It's the way the light's... Yeah, see? Bouncing off the lens. Yep. See, now you know why it is that. So your little white light happens to be the light bouncing off your lens. Okay. We are going to do what they did with Halloween, and we're going to ignore the sequel to Jingle All the Way. Not for nothing. I don't have anything against Larry the Cable Guy. He's figured out how to make his thing work. Nothing against Santino Marella, even though he no longer has work. You don't know who Santino Marella is, do you?
No, but I also think by the fact that Larry the Cable Guy is like a northerner pretending to be southern.
Jingle All the Way 2 is essentially, I think, a WWE product, if I'm not mistaken. It was a vehicle to get Santino Marella a little bit of acting work while he was still popular within the WWE as this kind of over-the-top Italian comedic character who used this snake kind of... It looked like a snake that he would, I don't know what you would call it, like a glove that looked like a snake that he'd put on his hand, and that was his whole thing. He would just peck somebody on the head with this glove, and that was his finishing move. It was ridiculous. And people sold it. I mean, really sold it. To see somebody get pecked on the head like this by somebody's hand, and then have them just kind of fly backwards and fall on the ground like they had been knocked the fuck unconscious by a Mike Tyson punch. And it was just ridiculous. Like, we know that's not effective, but ha ha ha, you did it, superhero little Italian guy. Woohoo! With the monobrow, mind you. Like, all one eyebrow. I think he shaved it at one point, but he had the monobrow for a while. Anyway.
Gotta love somebody with a unibrow.
We're going to take Jingle All the Way 2, and we're going to say, fuck you, we're going to do something else. So, the rebooted Jingle All the Way should continue the story of Arnold Schwarzenegger somehow accidentally fumbling into the Turbo Man suit. But this is legitimate superhero shit here. Like the stuff that he did when he was in the suit, how he saved the kid. I think that he takes this and he parlays this into a superhero career, but only fighting crime on Christmas. Just the Christmas season. Everything from Thanksgiving on to Christmas is him being Turbo Man and solving crimes as Turbo Man.
Something's always happening at those damn parades. That's the only time I'm picturing it. Like him getting up in that suit. It's like, I guess, like he would be getting there for like, you know, if he's fighting the crime for, you know, just around Christmas, several parades happen and they happen on different days during December.
I think somehow the original actor that played Turbo Man in the TV show, he's been, oh my God, you know, he's been fired because he's gone on some bender and cussed somebody out while TMZ was watching and this whole paparazzi shit. And they're like, we need a new Turbo Man. And now he's on the TV show because he got all that great press from the fucking parade.
That's what I was thinking originally. Like when you started talking about him staying in the suit, that's when I was like, well, maybe he's the new Turbo Man for the show.
But now he's like grandpa. And, like, adult Jake Lloyd, him and his boyfriend have a son together, like an adoptive son together. Boyfriend? Yeah.
Oh, that works.
We're going with how Disney does PC now. Like, if you look at Disney, Netflix, everything, you have to have everything represented. So even if we're gonna have a gay couple, we're gonna have Jake Lloyd and like an African American guy or an Asian guy or whatever. They do PC.
No, it'd be an African American guy with an Asian kid.
Something to that nature. You have to have all ethnicities, all races, because they don't want to insult anybody, so we have to include everybody. So every bit character has to have their own identity that fits within the PC world, so everybody's represented. You've noticed this, right?
So the villain will be trans.
Yep, probably. Eddie Izzard. We'll do Eddie Izzard. Eddie Izzard can be the villain in this movie.
But I want Eddie Izzard in his traditional, like, Asian style dress.
I want Eddie Izzard. I want Eddie Izzard to be. Her. I'm just saying I want Eddie Izzard. I didn't say her or he. I didn't give anything there.
No, I just said.
Oh.
I said.
You're correcting myself. Look, that's fine because I'm usually the one that makes the slip. Do you know how often my son has to correct me when I'm talking about some of his friends? Dad, it's they, them. Something. He does it. And I'm like, thank you for correcting me. Because that's all I can do. All I can say is thank you for correcting me, because honestly, some people get really upset if you don't identify them the way that they want to be identified. But my brain, like I said, I'm still kind of old school in a couple of things, and I know that's not a fucking excuse.
Here's the science, is that our brains are hardwired one way.
Right.
And it is hard to completely retrain it, because we go based off of sight and sound.
That's the only area that I have the issue. When we get to they, them, the English part of my brain, what little I remember from my schooling way back when, says they, them doesn't fit in that particular context. And so referring to a single person with that identifier, with that particular pronoun, sometimes it doesn't click in my brain like it should. So I'm going towards he, or I'm going towards she. And I get that reminder. It's they, them. And it's like, oh, yeah, fuck, sorry. I am not trying to insult you. It's just, I'm almost 50 years old, and sometimes that part doesn't click in my brain. And if I fuck up, it's nothing against you. I'm not trying to insult you. It's literally because I fucked up, you know.
Don't worry. I'm a trans woman, and I still fuck up.
See what I said at the head of the podcast? I am overly apologetic about fucking everything. Everything.
I know something.
like, one of my favorite comedians, Christopher Titus, said on one of his specials, he goes, I'm Whitey and I'm sorry. Because he goes into this whole thing about, you know you can't say some shit, because you know there's certain jokes you can't tell in certain company. You know that if you're talking to people that you're white and you're talking to people that are white, there's some jokes that you can't say to somebody else that happens to be, say, a photo negative of you, you know? And he's like, you start putting it through filters. It's like, can I say this filter? Is this going to piss him off filter? Does this guy have a Glock 9 filter? That was his whole thing. Honestly, he's a fantastic comedian. If you ever get a chance to sit down and listen to his podcast, Christopher Titus.
Christopher Titus.
You would appreciate him as a comedian. He has a podcast of his own. He has the Christopher Titus podcast. He has an old television show called Titus that was on Fox for a while. It lasted 3 seasons. Huh?
That sounds familiar.
It lasted 3 seasons until he said that he got too big for his britches, and he started making demands within his own little meeting, and Fox said, "Oh, you're canceled." And so that was it for him. So he got a little too big for his own britches and talked himself out of his own show, which during COVID, he finally gave the show a finale.
Oh.
So, good on him. He managed to get a finale for his own show that he filmed himself, bringing back all the original actors.
Oh, wow.
So it's a great show. If you ever get a chance to watch it, I think you can watch it on YouTube if you find the right channel. You got to find one of those sleazy channels that can upload shit for free.
Yeah.
The actual DVDs themselves are difficult to find. Going back to...
how would you start the sequel?
Like I said, I think the beginning of the sequel is just him being told. We do like a little backtracking. We can use that CGI technology that makes guys look a little younger, because Arnie's a little long in the tooth now, and we pull him back to like when he first ended. Whatever happened. It's a lot of publicity. It turns out the guy from the Turbo Man TV show, there's a whole scandal that follows him. Some drunken night with Booster. So there's some drunken night, they catch him with Booster, there's some whole drunken thing that goes on, TMZ publishes all sorts of paparazzi pictures, and because it's a child-friendly show, and apparently this fucking place is backwards as fucking hell, the whole scandal is just too much for them to handle, and they have to recast both roles. So, you have Eddie Izzard, or younger Eddie Izzard, who gets cast as Booster, this fresh-faced guy, because back when this movie came out, Eddie Izzard looked very different than he does right now. It's not Eddie Izzard anymore. There's a different name.
Is it?
Yes, it's not Eddie Izzard anymore. I keep saying Eddie Izzard because I'm thinking like my super ex-girlfriend, and he is not Eddie Izzard. She is not Eddie Izzard anymore. It's a different name.
Well, I mean, in fairness, most people probably don't know her new name. They know her more as her old name.
I haven't seen the comedic act since the trans.
Susie Izzard.
What?
Susie Izzard.
Can you send that to me? Because I don't know what you're saying.
Susie.
Thuzy?
Suzy.
Susie. It sounded like you were going with a TH, not an S. So I'm hearing you're saying Susie, and I'm like, Thuzy? Floozy? Who's-he? What's-he? I don't know. I can't understand.
Yes, it's Floozy Izzard.
Floozy is. He might make a joke like that. It's possible. I don't know. She's fantastic, though. I've always loved her comedy, both before. I haven't heard the after. I'm imagining there's a lot more story now. I'm very interested. I want to see what happened. That being said,
I want to see her too.
I think we should start the show, or the movie, with him stepping into the role because of the good publicity based off of him saving his kid from, the evil mastermind that was Sinbad. I want to bring Sinbad back.
As Dr. Demento?
No, I want them to be longtime friends. I want them to have formed a bond, a friendship.
Well, if they're both working on this TV show, even as arch nemesis, they could be friends.
He is part of the crew that works on the TV show.
So he doesn't get to be Dr. Demento?
He doesn't get to be Dr. Demento. I mean, he's not going to be the actor, right? It would be fun, but I don't think we'll have him I think he's just his buddy. He's been a companion. He fell on hard times with his job and all the shit that happened. And like one of the big moments in his life was being able to bring that doll home to his kid because Arnie's son gives him the doll at the end of the movie. And we see all this stuff, and he kind of fell on hard times, and Arnie got him a job on the show. And since then, they've been really, really good friends. It's like, hey, they've got they got some crew positions over here if you want to start over there. And he's worked his way up, and he's now one of the, I don't know if we should put him as, how do you work your way up on the crew? I've never been on a television show crew before.
I've never been on the crew side.
He's like we'll just call him a set supervisor. Basically, he's the guy. He's the guy that, or maybe like the director's right-hand man. Basically, he's the guy the director gives him things. He goes, you tell him to do this, you tell him to do this, I'm going to do this.
Or he could be the executive producer.
That would make him the assistant director, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Because if he's not the director, he is the assistant to the director. Technically, he is the assistant director. And I didn't connect one and one, and my brain went, he's just a guy that the director tells to do things.
That would be an assistant. Or it'd be a personal assistant.
Personal assistant. He could just be the guy. Well, you're not the assistant director. You're my personal assistant. But I assist you and you're the director. That's right. That means I'm the assistant director. No, you don't get that word. You do not get that word. That is not your word. That is my word. He's just got one.
You're not the assistant director. You're assistant to the director.
We have to have a grumpy guy that is the director on this show. He has been directing children's shows for too long to change professions at this point, and he is pissed that he is doing this show because he doesn't like it.
We're just dreamcasting, right?
We're dreamcasting.
We're bringing in Gilbert Godfrey.
Oh, okay. You're doing going from dreamcasting to bringing him back from the dead casting, because when I started doing that voice. Do you know who I thought of as the grumpy director? Danny DeVito.
Ooh, okay. I can vibe with that too.
Danny DeVito as this miserable, pissed, grumpy director who is just ordering Sinbad around. You don't get that. No, you don't get that name. That's my name. You don't have that name. But I am the assistant to the director. That makes me the assistant director. You're my personal assistant. Like it or leave.
Which is funny, since we just also cast him as Reagan in our remake of The Exorcist.
You gotta love Danny DeVito, though. He's fucking funny as hell. Like, everything about Danny DeVito is hilarious. Especially, you have to watch Friends. He's a stripper in Friends. Yep, he was a stripper. Yeah.
Sorry for my face. Sorry for the dead air. But if y'all can see my face.
I can see your face.
You can see my face.
You wonder why I'm gonna have fun. I'll let a little bit of news fly. After the first of the year, hopefully by the beginning of February, we're going to be debuting a new podcast, tentatively right now titled Buffy with Friends. What it's going to be is we're going to go back and forth, and we're going to review episodes of Buffy, and we're going to review episodes of Friends. So every other podcast, I'm thinking maybe once a week. And it would be like the top of the podcast, we review a Buffy episode, and the bottom of the podcast, we'll review a Friends episode. And when we start to run out of Buffy episodes, we will move into Angel. It is tentatively named that because I'm thinking that we should have a main title, and then the undertitle should be Buffy with Friends, because once we run out of those two shows, if we want to continue to do it, we don't want to have to change the name of the whole fucking podcast. It's just Cinematic Anarchy Presents or whatever. Just,
Yeah, I was about to say maybe we shouldn't just call it Buffy with Friends.
You know, but because if it's Buffy with Friends and then we've moved on to something else, yeah,
Then it's Angel with Friends.
it's like, hold on a minute, we just change it as we're going along. Angel with Friends, Angel with Titus. You know, it's what are we gonna do? It'll start sounding weird. Buffy with Friends sounds good to start off with, but once we move on to something else, it's like, well, okay, now we're not doing Buffy and Friends at the same time. Why don't we just focus on one show? Or are we, you know,
Yeah.
we're going to go, okay, 2 episodes at a time, we'll go through this show and this. So, yeah, we're going to do a television episodic thing. Okay, moving back to our little thing on Jingle All the Way 2, Screw You, to the other 2.
Wait, there were 2?
Sorry, for
Oh wait,
yeah, because the original Jingle All the Way 2. Yeah. Mater had his day, man. He did not need to be in Jingle All the Way. He did not need to be in Jingle All the Way. As much as I love the guy, Larry the Cable Guy is the reason for the first words to come out of first sentence to come out of my son's mouth. Did you know that? The first sentence.
No, it did not.
He was doing individual words. The first full sentence that my son ever spoke, and this tells you how much I was watching the Blue Collar Comedy Tour way the fuck back when, was, "Get her done." My son said "get her done" as a sentence long before he started forming full sentences on other things. To tell you a little bit about my daughter and her attitude sometimes, her first full sentence, "I'm not in the mood."
Seriously?
Yep, "I'm not in the mood," was her first full sentence.
My mom was upset with my first words.
What was
my
your first words?
My first word went from dada to ease for please, and then thank you for thank you, and then I said mama.
Oh, you went through a whole series of things before you got to... I don't think my kids ever said dada first. There was no dada first. I think there were all sorts of other words, and then like dada came along and mama came along at a point. But I think my kids voiced their needs long before they were like, mama, dada. You know, they're trying to call us over.
Like
in the middle of...
My mom was happy I had manners, but she's like,
Right.
She was upset that my manner words came before her.
Motherfucker, give me my bottle. You know, all of a sudden my kids are Samuel L. Jackson, you know, just... Now I'm picturing, you never seen the movie Little Man?
Yes.
Right, with the Wayans brothers? I'm just picturing like a sequel to Little Man, but like this time Samuel L. Jackson's the Little Man. I would love that. Sam Jackson in the sequel to Little Man. Little Man 2. Motherfucker. Anyway, yeah. You do you really think that I would say that I would entitle like Jingle All the Way 2, Screw You? Is that why you laughed?
Yes.
Jingle All the Way 2, Screw You. Yeah, what? We're gonna take this a little PG-13. It's not so much a kids movie anymore. We're gonna get Bad Santa with this mother. You know.
As long as we don't have any fuck me Santa, we're okay.
You know, I would love to have. I mean, if we could go like and take the movie, what was essentially a kids movie, and turn it into more adult fare, go PG-13, just get close to pushing R. I would love to do something similar to what they did in the end of Anchorman 2, where you remember, if you've seen Anchorman 2, you've never seen Anchorman 2. Okay, have you seen Anchorman at all? You don't like Will Ferrell? Nope. Okay. In Anchorman 2, basically, you had several teams of anchors from different TV shows, including guys you would know. Yeah, there were people from Buffy in that show. You had Jim Carrey ended up in that. They had a whole thing. It was fucking hilarious. It was different anchors, and there was just this melee battle royal of anchors from different TV shows kicking each other's asses. I want to do something similar on that scale, but people that have played Santa in movies from the past, along with their respective elves.
Oh, God.
I need...
Oh, you think I have Tim Allen in there?
I need Tim Allen with Martin Short from playing Jack Frost. He played Jack Frost.
But you said the elves.
Okay, what was the name of his main elf? What was the guy that played his...
Bernard.
Yeah, Bernard. But do you remember the name of the actor?
I forgot who played him, because he also played in the Addams Family Values.
Addams Family Values. Yeah, he was like Wednesday's kind of boyfriend. The love interest. And then he was also in 10 Things I Hate About You. He was the lover of... There are so many movies that I've got to sit... We're going to approach some things. I have to write down a list. You showed me so many horror movies. I should have a pad at my desk. There's pads in the bathroom, but that's not the kind you want to write on. I mean, I could write on them, but I think my wife would be terribly upset with me.
Write on them with a red crown or red marker.
Ah, okay. Maybe not. David Krumholtz. David Krumholtz was the one that played Bernard. So I could do that. And then you got to have Bad Santa, Billy Bob Thornton.
What was his else name? I know it's the I don't want to say it that way. Then I'm gonna have to be overly apologetic.
Well, it was a character with dwarfism. Let's just say. I think.
Wasn't it a black guy with dwarfism?
Yes, if I'm not mistaken. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, and weirdly enough, I'm looking. Go ahead.
He was in Date Movie.
He was in Date Movie. I cannot find him. That is really fucking weird. Was he not in the first movie, or was he like only in the second one?
I thought he was in Bad Santa. I didn't know if he was in Badder Santa.
Because I'm looking at Bad Santa right now, and oh, there he is, Tony Cox. That's his name.
Yeah.
I'm like scrolling by, and the only reason I'm missing Tony Cox is because right next to him is Bernie Sanders, and Bernie Sanders' smile just shines bright. So I missed him.
You know what?
Scrolled past.
You know what's also weird?
What's also weird?
I looked up Date Movie to try to find him, and he's not in he's not in the very first section of anybody either. Hell, he's not even on this list.
Yeah,
through main Google.
Tony Cox is he's one of those guys. He's one of the mainstays, like Warwick Davis and Vern Troyer. There was a lot of people that got a lot of roles. I'd like to see oh God, what is his name? Brad Williams. He's funny as hell. He should be in movies. He's fucking funny. I mean, really funny. I didn't even remember that John Ritter was in Bad Santa. Wasn't he like the dad? No, he wasn't the dad, because Lauren Graham was his mom. He was Bob something or other. Bob Chickapia. Or Bob Chipika? Chipika? Chippewa? Chippewa?
So it's like we got Tony Cox and Billy Bob Thornton.
And Lauren Graham was in the movie.
Yes, she's the one who keeps repeating, "Fuck me, Santa."
Yep. Lauren Graham probably in the sexiest role she's ever been in before she became the mom and everything.
Well, no. She was playing a mom during that time because she was on Gilmore Girls.
Was she on Gilmore Girls during Bad Santa? Like the original one?
I think Bad Santa came after Gilmore Girls.
Bad Santa was 2003. I'm not sure when Gilmore Girls started. Was Gilmore Girls season 1?
90s.
Wow, okay, so 3 years after Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Was Bad Santa. I don't get that. That's how much she presented as a mother figure in that TV show. I don't think I watched Gilmore Girls when it was on TV. That's the thing.
The other thing is, it's like it's very contracts have has some specific things. It depends on what kind of show you're playing on. Like Jessica Biel got out of her contract by posing for Maxim, I think.
Maxim,
and
almost completely nude.
And it was a Christian show, so she couldn't be on there no more. Gilmore Girls was about a person who had a child at like 16 or 17.
Right.
So her contract was probably a little more like she could do a few more adulter things.
But yes, I didn't see her as a sex symbol on that show. Mind you, here's the reason why I didn't connect the one and the two. Because my wife watched a bit of the Gilmore Girls, like when it was on TV, but I never watched it with her. It was one of those things, I watch my thing, you watch your thing. Because I never got into the Gilmore Girls. And I know how much she liked the show, and we lost cable at one point. So I was like, okay. So I went out and bought her the entire box set of the Gilmore Girls. It was this nice, it was a really nice box set. It came in like a cushioned outer cover, and then you open it up like a clamshell, and there's everything inside to watch. It was a nice box set, but it was also the worst box set I ever bought because the way you had to slip the discs in and out, it scratched the DVDs, and this is before Blu-rays, which are like impossible to fucking scratch. These things got mangled. I bought her the box sets twice. That's how much she loved the show. And I am not afraid to say, after watching the show, I really fucking liked the fast-paced wit of the show.
Yeah, well, that's where Melissa McCarthy got her start. That's pretty much, for the most part.
I like Scott Peterson. Luke, come on.
He was great.
The guy's guy. And I'm really disappointed that he has not done more since that show. I buy his coffee.
We should probably hold on to this for next year.
For Gilmore Girls? You want to do Gilmore Girls?
We can. I've actually never sat down and watched all of it. I only watched bits and pieces because my stepmom loved it.
I've watched the series through too many times.
Is it worth it?
Oh, it's worth it every time. It is. Every time.
Well, it's one of the things. And hell, you have me doing Friends, which is something I've never sat down and watched. I could do Gilmore Girls.
If you saw the movies that I have over here on my shelf, and then you realize that I love watching the Gilmore Girls at the same time, and you're like, 1 and 1 doesn't add up to 2 here. Why is 1 and 1 35? I don't understand.
Why is math not mathing?
This is not mathing. I don't understand. I can't. No.
Well, hell, if you looked at the stuff I liked, and you looked at the stuff my fiance likes, you would never figure he would like some of the shit I like.
Here's the thing, though. Sometimes you don't realize you like something until you have somebody in your life introduce you to it.
Yeah, he introduced me to Supernatural. I introduced him to Buffy.
If it wasn't for her in my life, there's a lot of shit I would not have watched. If it wasn't for me, she would never have watched and fallen in love with Smallville.
Oh, I love Smallville. I gotta finish it, though, so no spoilers.
No spoilers. See, there you go. Smallville and Gilmore Girls.
We could do that. Now, keep in mind, there's only, 2 seasons I have not watched. 3 seasons of Smallville I have not watched.
Still. And there's 3 seasons you haven't watched of Smallville, and there are a couple things you haven't watched of Gilmore Girls. It gives you a reason to watch both.
True.
So there you go. It gives you a reason to watch Friends for the first fucking time. And I'm going to have to watch, because do you have HBO Max at all?
Nope.
That's where all of Friends is right now, HBO Max.
Is it not on Netflix anymore?
I was pulled off Netflix a little while ago before HBO picked it up.
Oh, we might be fucked.
We might be fucked, or don't listen to me right now, HBO. We might be able to loan you the password to get into it.
Ah, right.
You're not hearing me at all. You didn't hear me say a single thing. Okay, now that we've established that they're not listening, nobody's listening, we will move on to getting back to talking about... We talked about how we would start. So now we're moving back to present day. At this point, he has been somehow Power Rangered into several years worth of fucking doing this show, and he is getting over the hill, and he is ready to pass on the mantle of, the Turbo guy to somebody else. Turbo Man! Mm-hmm. No, that's not... Wait, that's Trojan Man. Why am I doing the Trojan Man voice? Trojan Man!
Turbo time.
Turbo Man, Trojan condoms.
Oh, God.
No. So he's divorced at this point. He is a divorced dad. His wife divorced him. Well, because you remember the end of the movie, right? I told you, after the credits, which we missed, we saw that at the break.
What did you get me?
The wife was all like, what did you get me? He fucked up. He didn't get her shit. He forgot her completely. And everything spirals from there. Years and years of arguments. She always brings up that one Christmas that he didn't get her anything, but he fought so hard for their son. And she's like, well, she goes, why didn't you get me anything? And now there's just this back and forth argument. And now he tries to get her, things, but he just doesn't feel it anymore. And she's constantly arguing. It just spirals out of control. And both of them are just being big children about the whole fucking thing. Like, I want to see massive, dramatic arguments, like just a montage of just massively dramatic arguments between the two of them. Like,
oh goodness,
blown way out of proportion to like comedic value.
Sorry, Rita Wilson.
Sorry, Rita. No. I mean, I want to see some comedic chops out of the both of them. Have you ever seen Arnie argue that face that he gets? It's not a tumor. When he gets really, really mad. I want that for the whole thing.
His face goes red.
That just bug-eyed freak out that he does, but for an entire montage of arguments leading up to the divorce. And then you just see somebody slam the divorce paperwork down on a table, and they're both signing it, and you get to his lonely life as a bachelor living in an apartment because it's the only apartment that he could afford close by to the set, and they're not paying him anywhere near enough to do the job that he's doing on a children's show going on for almost 2 decades now.
Well, I guess, so it's Christmas time. He's trying to pass the torch to a new actor. And then, we have, his son with his boyfriend and their little adopted kid. They're coming to see him for the holidays.
Okay. So his son and his boyfriend with the kid are coming to see him in his lonely little apartment for the holidays. I want to say that he has an addiction problem. That's why he has to live in the apartment.
Was he addicted to?
Maybe
he's an alcoholic too.
I want to say that he is addicted to something really, really fucking ridiculous. It has to be ridiculous. Like, he is addicted to collecting every bit of Turbo Man memorabilia ever sold out on eBay. Like, actual memorabilia from the show that he's trying to buy back from other people. That's where all of his money goes. From years before he was even part of the show. They've sold off the old stuff because there was scandal attached to it. And so now he's paying exorbitant amounts of money, and he's got like this apartment that looks like an absolute shithole, but he has like a storage unit somewhere that's like set up like a fucking like museum gallery with all this Turbo Man shit that he's bought from like years, stuff from like a weird Turbo Man movie that he was supposed to star in, but somehow Lou Ferrigno got the role. Just I don't understand. How did Lou Ferrigno get the role? Well, Lou Ferrigno sounds like Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, it's just something ridiculous like that.
He doesn't have just a storage unit. He has a warehouse set up for this museum.
Right.
That someone's like, it basically could be its own soundstage.
So he knows, his son knows how much money he's making, and he's like, do you have like a bank account somewhere? How much money do you have in your bank account? What is going on, Dad? Why? Not only that, but he also, like I said, he's fighting crime in his spare time outside of the show. He has been for years, using variations of the same gear that he got in the first movie. So he has some weird guy being like a James Bond. You know who James Bond Q is? The guy that makes all of his weird gadgets. You know, all the gadgets that he uses in any movie. That's Q. So he has a Q. Who should be Q? You don't know? I just stumped you there, or are we?
Our thing froze for a second. Oh, I know who Q is.
Okay, no, I was asking who you think we should cast as his gadget maker. Because I got a couple of ideas, but I want to hear you first.
You know who I actually like, kind of, sort of?
Who?
And it's her persona in The Kingsman 2.
Okay.
Halle Berry, but in that type of role that she had in Kingsman 2.
Okay, I could see that. That would be unconventional. I went a different way, but even though I think you went with a better idea, because I was thinking John Leguizamo.
I do like him.
John Leguizamo's funny, but I think that Halle Berry, if she pulled that same persona off, would be kind of good. I like that.
Like I like Halle Berry, like with that persona from that specific movie.
You know, Halle Berry has got some versatility, but she's afraid to show it a lot. Like,
well, I mean, I've seen her in Monsters Ball. I've seen her in X-Men. I've seen her in Kingsman. I saw her in John Wick 3.
Right, but think about the roles that she's been in, and just kind of, do you not, outside of Monsters Ball, which was definitely a very fucking different role for her, outside of that film, almost every role, maybe the Kingsman 2, almost every role has seemed like a variation on the same character, just in a different situation.
She does, like, most of her characters are some type of confident woman.
So she has that thing. Like I said, outside of that, like the Kingsman, the role in the Kingsman, and the role in Monsters Ball. I mean, even you can draw parallels between her performance as Storm and her performance in Gothica.
I've actually not seen Gothica, but I mean, I could draw the parallel in. I know everyone doesn't like it, but if I take it as a movie just by itself, for Catwoman, it's like, yeah, she played like a little like meek person in the beginning, like Catwoman's supposed to be in her origin stories, but it's like, for the most part, you basically see another Storm.
Fuck that. Michelle Pfeiffer is Catwoman. Thank you. Done.
I think I take the movie for what it is.
Yeah, and honestly, Halle Berry's version of Halle Berry's version of Catwoman.
I didn't say it was the best. If I take it as just a chick flick, it's great.
I think that the
Michelle Pfeiffer is always going to be Catwoman.
I think the producers of Catwoman were just taking advantage of putting her in a skin-tight leather suit.
Yeah.
I mean, they could have gone the route that Michelle Pfeiffer did with the full body gear, right? Because it didn't overly sexualize the character, but Halle Berry's version overly sexualized the character.
Like, originally, like, I mean, if you look at Eartha Kitt and Julie Newmar, or just at the comics,
right?
Like, she was always in a skin-tight suit that slightly sexualized her as a woman, but it's one of the things. But it kept her covered up and somewhat modest. Like, if she did get into a scrape, she's got some protection there.
Right. And Halle Berry, no.
Nah, she's gonna feel every scratch.
Like, what's going on with you here? Why do we have to see the midriff? Why are you essentially wearing a sports bra throughout this entire movie? Low-rise jeans? I don't get it. How is this Catwoman?
It's like, we put some cat scratches inside your leather pants. That you're Catwoman. No.
This is hard for me to say. Even Anne Hathaway did a better job as Catwoman.
And I did not like Anne Hathaway's Catwoman.
I did not at all. Nope. I can't.
I like Anne Hathaway as an actor. I'm sorry, Annie Hathaway. I like Annie Hathaway as an actress, but yeah, her real name is actually Annie.
Yeah, I'm gonna stick with Anne. Thank you.
Well, you're saying it wrong. I even heard her mother say it.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mom. It's Anne now. I can. It's whatever it is in my own mind. I have so many names that I fucking butcher. This is why it's difficult. I have to have somebody on a podcast that can actually pronounce the names correctly when we are talking Asian cinema. Because fuck, I can't do that. I am so horrible at that. Right? I'm looking at these names and I was like, I am mispronouncing the fucking hell out of this. Is this Tashushimi Moto Wada? I don't know. And then they're like, no, that's not the name even remotely, dude. What are you talking about? There's no T. Where'd you get the T from? Just, that's how bad I am. Okay, let's getting back into the movie. We've made this guy the sad sack. His son has come to visit him for the holidays, and he doesn't realize that his father, after the divorce, has gotten so depressed about how he treated his wife that he has fallen into this addiction of buying all this memorabilia. He is living in squalor, and his son knows how much he makes on the show. They say, oh my God, he's making this much a year, and the show's still going. It's still this popular, and you see those clips of TMZ that keep popping back to the scandal from the past that ousted the last guy, and now they're talking about this divorced single father who is about to lose his job because he's been doing it for 20 years. He's a little over the hill, and the studio wants him to find his replacement.
Yeah.
Little does he know, he wants his son to replace him. He wants to pass it on to the family. His son doesn't know anything about it yet.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, Jake Lloyd, not the right body stature.
Not the right body type at all. None. So Jake Lloyd's going to have to do some work before he films this. He's going to have to do a little bit of work. He's going to have to Zac Efron that bitch up. I'm telling you right now. He's going to have to go to the Arnie school of pump it up. It's just.
You got to feel the burn.
Don't worry, your muscles are growing. It's not a tumor. It's okay. Oh, you gotta go look up a clip. I'll send it to you. Actually, you don't have to look it up. Where he's on one of his original movies, Pumping Iron, where he's talking about exercising, and he is literally talking about how pumping iron creates the same endorphins as having an orgasm. And he's like, every time I work out, it's like I'm coming. It's like I'm coming all the time. And I'm just going, oh my God, Arnold, what the fuck? It's like, why have I not watched this movie? This seems like comedic gold, and he doesn't even realize he's doing it.
Oh my goodness.
It's a documentary, for fuck's sake. Well, this is like back in the day when he was doing, like, he had Hercules in the park or something, and they didn't like his voice, so they had Arnold Schwarzenegger, but he was dubbed over by an American actor.
I think I've heard of that.
Yeah. Try to find it. It's interesting to watch. Just somebody speaking for Arnie, and it's like, I know that voice does not come out of that mouth. I know what voice comes out of that mouth, and that's not fucking it.
That's not Mr. Tuma.
No, he's got to have a tumor in his voice box. He sounds all American now. I don't understand.
Maybe put the cookie in it.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I was going to say something. I forgot what I was going to say. The cookie's lodged in his throat. That's why he sounds American. He's got the chocolate chip right here in the Adam's apple. Anyway. Who the fuck is that Arnold? He's an imposter. I'm going to stop doing the Arnold Schwarzenegger accent now because it is hurting my jaw just a little bit. I think maybe like if I wanted to let the jaw heal, I would not talk for a few days, which is impossible for me, as you might imagine.
Well, especially since you have a couple things coming up.
Yeah. I mean, I got one more thing coming up, and then I can rest my face for a little bit while I edit things and put them out. I'm not putting out. Anyway.
It's like, talk to your wife about that one.
For those people in the back, I'm not putting out. Anyway.
All right, so, okay, we got Jake Lloyd doing work, feeling the burn, pumping the iron, whatever. I guess his man is all ogling and stuff now. Wait, where are we taking this movie though?
We steal music from Rocky to do a montage. We do Eye of the Tiger. Well, Arnold Schwarzenegger is training little Jake Lloyd to take over for him. See, I did the voice again. I don't want to do the voice. I gotta stop. So he's training his
Jake
son.
Lloyd's not in the jail.
What?
That's if Jake Lloyd's not in jail.
Right. Is he in jail right now?
I don't know if he is right now. I know he has been.
Oh, well, we'll give Jake Lloyd some work. I mean, this is Jingle All the Way, too. Again, fuck you, Mater. Anyway, I love you,
Jingle
Larry
All the
the
Way.
Cable Guy. Just that movie. Oh, my God.
Jingle All the Way too. Screw you.
There's some movies that I have absolutely loved, like Witless Protection. Was it Witless Protection? Was that the one?
Yes.
That was a good one, and there was another one where he played like a fake restaurant inspector or something. It was fucking funny as hell.
He was in a Medea movie.
Yeah, he's been in a few things that I absolutely loved him. And the Larry the Cable Guy character works for certain things. In this particular instance, like it's almost as bad as, wasn't he in like the Tooth Fairy too as well? Like for some reason he was the sequel go-to guy for people that were absolutely jacked in the first movie. Like the original Tooth Fairy was the fucking Rock. The original guy from Jingle All the Way was Arnold Schwarzenegger. Draw me a parallel to both of them and Larry the fucking Cable Guy. How does that even work?
Especially parallel between Larry the Cable Guy and The Rock.
Any parallel between these two jacked individuals and Larry the Cable Guy. What is going on in the producer's mind that says, you know what, Jingle All the Way was fucking fantastic, but what if Larry the Cable Guy was in this movie? What if not only he was in the movie, but he was the prime guy, the main guy in the next movie? What if you were fired, sir? That's where that would be my answer to that. What if you were fired? What if you didn't have a job? Well, what if this is direct to DVD and it didn't even make it into the theaters? Okay, now you got me talking. Go ahead. We don't have to invest in much.
Jingle All the Way 2 didn't make it to theaters.
It didn't. Neither did Tooth Fairy 2. They both were direct to DVD releases. So I think Larry the Cable Guy gets the job because why? They don't have to pay him The Rock or Arnold Schwarzenegger's fees. He's just like, how much you gonna give me? Well, man, they made 20 times the amount I'm getting. Damn, give me the paycheck. And then he moves on. He was just happy for the paycheck. He's Larry the Cable Guy. You're going to put me in a sequel to this? Right. So forever, they're going to remember me as the guy that was in the sequel so they couldn't make it a trilogy. Yes. And you're going to pay me for that. Yes. You're going to pay me to ruin your franchise. Yes. You're going to pay me to give you a movie that you have to write off at the end of the year because not only did it not make money, you lost money. You lost so much money you almost closed the studio. Yes. All right, I'll do it.
Damn.
Sure.
We just put him through the ringer.
I loved him as Mater. Every single incarnation of Mater. But man, those movies. Whew. Larry. First of all, Larry, get out of the tutu. Second of all, Larry, take off the Santa hat. Third of all, Larry, just stop. Stop.
Stick with your stand-up, sir. And the roles that you're actually built for.
You know, Larry the Cable Guy, he was originally in Georgia. He was a call-in radio participant. So he was like a comedic guy that would call in with different personas to try to get a laugh.
Oh.
So he was a call-in comedian, basically. So he would call in and be different personas, this, that, and the other thing. And the Larry the Cable Guy one was the one that stuck, the one that made people laugh the most. And that's where it progressed from there. I'm sure there's more to that story. I'm definitely sure there's more to that story, but that also means that he has the versatility to do something other than Larry the Cable Guy.
True.
So why hasn't he tried to do something other than Larry the Cable Guy? Because everybody knows him as Larry the Cable Guy.
Well, there's that, and that's the thing that's bringing him the big dollars.
That's why Pee Wee Herman fucked himself pretty damn bad with Pee Wee's Playhouse. That's also why Pee Wee Herman fucked himself by playing in some other person's playhouse. I'm going to be Pee Wee Herman for the rest of my fucking life. No matter what movie I star in, everybody's going to be like, fuck, Pee Wee's in this? They're not going to remember. Most people don't remember him as Paul Rubens. They remember him as Pee Wee Herman. Pee Wee's Big Top, Pee Wee's
Pee Wee
Playhouse.
Herman was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
He was the original Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. Right. He was the Spike character, right? No.
Well, he was a vampire.
He was one of the...
He was like the right-hand man to the big bad guy.
No, he was... So he was originally not the Spike character, but he was, I forget, they drew a parallel between him and somebody else in the TV show.
Well, it would have had to been Spike.
Right. And then, of course, you had the David Arquette character. I have no idea. Honestly, the TV show and the movie are two completely different entities. There's not a lot of parallels you can draw, really. I would have said the David Arquette character was kind of close to Xander, really. But, like, they had to create a whole different thing to make it a TV show. So, really, there's not a lot of parallels you can draw between the characters. I mean,
but we could talk about that next year.
Yeah, we can talk about that next year. Fucking Hilary Swank as a fucking cheerleader. Oh my god, I'm a cheerleader. Back when Hilary Swank was not a serious actress, she was just sort of pretty fodder. And then she did Boys Don't Cry, and then people took her as a serious actress.
I liked her in the next Karate Kid.
What?
I liked her. I liked that movie.
Oh man, we're going to watch that movie too now, aren't we? Because we got differing opinions on that. We have differing opinions on that.
I'm not saying it's the best one out of the series, but I mean, I did love me some Pat Morita.
Now let me ask you a question. As much as Pat Morita and Hilary Swank had their own fucking movie, The Next Karate Kid, why has Hilary Swank never been invited on Cobra Kai?
She actually has.
She has? Did she turn it down flat?
She hasn't turned it down, just scheduling conflicts.
Bullshit. That's
what they said, but I mean...
That's bullshit. What have you seen her in lately? Scheduling conflicts my ass.
I think she's got a TV show coming out.
Does she?
I think so. It's either a TV show or a movie.
Nothing that's on my radar.
I've seen it. I saw it advertised recently.
I have scheduling conflicts. I don't want to be on this show that everybody fucking watches and raves about. Also, you don't want to remind people you were in The Next Karate Kid. Probably one of the most hated versions of that show. They hated The Next Karate Kid even more than the Karate Kid they did with Jaden Smith.
Did they? Because I did not like. I like Jackie Chan in that, but
that's what I'm saying though. Jackie Chan was the reason everybody loved that. Jaden Smith was there. He was there. Just hey,
the main kid. He was just there.
Hey, Jaden, you're in the movie. Yeah. Who are you? The Next Karate Kid. No, that's Hilary Swank. Who are you? Karate Kid. No, man, that's Ralph Macchio. Who are you? Jaden Smith. Right. You're Jaden Smith in a movie with Jackie Chan that happens to be called The Karate Kid. Congratulations. Just, I don't know.
We've gone so far off from where we were.
We're talking about the movie bits and pieces. We've got him as a sad sack, and he's trying to pass everything on, and then we got into the whole Eye of the Tiger as he's trying to make Jake Lloyd buff like Frignell, you know. I don't want him buff like the Arnold Schwarzenegger. He needs to be buff like Frignell.
I'm just trying to figure out where we take this movie. Like, how do we get it to...
So...
What is our ending?
When Susie Izzard realizes that they're both about to be fired, because Susie Izzard has taken over the booster role, all right? Just kind of fell into the role one day. He was like the guy that held the boom mic. And when they realized that all this fucking character really had to do was hop into the costume and just move around, they were like, you know what? You can do it. Like, they had an argument with, Curtis Armstrong on the set. Anybody can do your fucking job. You're right. Anybody can do my fucking job. Prove it. And guess what? They picked the guy that's holding the boom mic, and he can do the job, and he has been for 20 years now. But when he realizes...
Booster's no longer Booster. Booster's Boosterina.
Boosterina. Well, Booster can still be Booster. I mean, he's a pink fucking saber-toothed tiger. Booster is a them. Because he's a pink saber-toothed tiger in a fucking gold thong. He is basically the saber-toothed tiger version of Rocky. I told you, not Rocky Balboa, you know. He isn't Sylvester Stallone in a fucking thong. No, he's fucking, Rocky from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the blonde guy in the gold bikini. And Susie Izzard realizes that because Arnie has now got to pass his role on, they're saying that he needs to give his suit to somebody else. It's like we're getting rid her, they, them, person. Fuck. So I told you I have trouble with that. I am so fucking awful. And I got you. I'm on medication, so please forgive me just a little bit. Susie, if you ever listen to this show, which I'm 90% certain you never will. 90%. There's that 10%. Maybe Susie wakes up one morning and goes, "What's this shit?" just I was listening to a podcast and like this, it just decided to start playing the next podcast in line. Somehow it was ours, and it happens to be this specific episode. And she, Jesus, fuck. Anyway, she happens to wake up at the exact moment where I make the mistake of calling she, he, and now he's like, all right, we're suing that motherfucker. Get this episode taken off. And I will be known prominently as the person that got sued by Susie Izzard for misgendering him. Her. See? Fuck. God damn it.
We're gonna blame this on medication.
I'm a horrible person, and we're 2 hours in now, and I'm hoping that he doesn't wake up in the middle of this little speech, because fuck me. Okay, moving on.
You're hoping Susie Izzard doesn't wake up in the middle of this speech?
In the middle of me misgendering her? Yeah, her. See, I did it right. Congratulations, me. Anyway.
It's just funny. You said, I hope he doesn't wake up in the middle of this speech.
Yeah, I know. Because I keep screwing up. I keep misgendering. I've known Susie as Eddie for fucking ever. Seen her in so many movies as Eddie. Seen all of her stand up as Eddie. And now that it is Susie and I am not as familiar with Susie and have not seen things with Susie attached, it makes it tough for me to make that mental transition. See, I have to have, when something makes that transition, I have to have that thing in front of me prominently. You know, I can remember that Miss Jenner is now Miss Jenner. I remember that because it is, you never see it. It is never ending because of the fucking Kardashians. It is never ending.
Oh, fuck them. Some of the only people who got famous are having no talent.
Yeah, well, I mean, she has talent. It just happens to be with a dick in her mouth. That being said, I'm talking about Kim, not, you know.
I can't completely hate on Kim. She was in a TV show I like called Drop Dead Diva. She did her part well, and from what I heard, she's actually doing American Horror Story really well.
She took the same route to fame that her former hair client. She was a hairdresser. She was basically the hairdresser and the makeup artist for Paris Hilton before she became famous. Yeah,
I did not know that.
Yep, and so she took the same page out of Paris Hilton's book and leaked a sex tape, which put her on the map. So
I think it mostly put her on the map due to it being with Brandy's brother, Ray J.
Whatever. Girls definitely got talents. I don't watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians because of all the people I don't want to keep up with, the Kardashians, them. I don't want to keep up with them. I don't care.
No reason. I can barely keep up with my own family. Why would I keep up with theirs?
I can't watch reality television in general because I think reality television is a lot of different types of television that I can't watch because I feel like ease of access to lowest common denominator television really makes it difficult for kids to want to do anything but be those kinds of people.
There's only one type of reality TV I watch, and that's reality cooking competition shows.
I watch MasterChef all the time.
I love MasterChef. Mark Dacascos. Oof.
Is he now in that show?
He used to be the main guy who would you said Iron Chef, right?
No, I said MasterChef.
Oh, you said MasterChef. Sorry, I was thinking Iron Chef.
Mark Dacascos. Oh my god, I forgot that he was in Iron Chef. He was like the main guy announcing everything. And the funny part of that was he's a failed actor.
Not anymore.
He was big in cheesy 80s action films. He was really
now he's
big.
Big since he did John Wick.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, he went from the Iron Chef thing was what gave him that jump, right?
Yeah.
Because they were like, fuck, we need to put this guy in more stuff, you know? But back then, if you go watch any Mark Dacascos film back in the 90s and the 80s, you're looking at it and you're going, this guy was in MasterChef? How did he even get there? Like, what chef woke up one morning or producer and said, you know, we're going to make an entire TV show about the best chefs in the world. Iron Chef. The best chefs in the world cooking in competitions against each other to see who is the Iron Chef. Oh, that sounds like a great idea. Who should we get to host the show? The guy that does everything. Who should be the face of Iron Chef? Hey, you know that really bad actor from the 80s and 90s that was in all those really trashy action shows? Let's get him. Let's do that. And it worked out.
It's like, why do we get him? Because he can do a backflip.
No, honestly, Mark Dacascos is fucking amazing. He really is.
I like him.
And it's a weird transformation that I liken that to the transformation of Tracy Lords.
Wasn't she a porn star?
She was a porn star. And then somehow, some way, she ended up in a John Waters film. She did a couple of bad, cheesy movies. Some really bad, cheesy, actual movies trying to get herself out of porn. But one day, she ended up in Crybaby.
Oh.
And she has been doing different things ever since. Like, she's done some decent stuff. I'm not going to call her like a Meryl Streep level actress, but she's done some stuff that's pretty decent. You know, I've enjoyed her in a lot of different things. I enjoyed her when she was in the Gilmore Girls. I enjoyed her in Zack and Miri Make a Porno, which kind of fit a little. Kind of a little tongue-in-cheek having Tracy Lords in Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
She was in Gilmore Girls?
Yeah. She was in Gilmore Girls. She was like
Did she play the woman who kind of looked witchy?
No, she was this blonde woman who was supposed to be helping, I think, Lorelai get antiques and other furniture to be able to get the Firefly Inn up and running. But then Lorelai also realized that she was also the antique dealer for her mother and was really worried that things were going to get back to her mother through it. It was a whole thing for like 2 episodes. Oh. She was only in a couple episodes, but it was like a whole thing about her working for her mother. She's like, no, I don't want anything to get back to my mother about any of this shit. And no, we're going to let you go. But no, I like Tracy Lords as an actress, but that's what I'm thinking. Mark Dacascos, mind you, Mark Dacascos has been in many more things than Tracy Lords has.
He was in the second Ronin movie that originally Keanu Reeves did.
Right,
he played in the sequel.
The 46.
The sequel wasn't as great, but the fight scenes were great.
He was like what, the 48th Ronin?
Something like that. But,
now, to her credit, mind you, he may have been in far more movies, but I'm certain that she's done more porn than he has. We don't
know when he turns the camera on in his bedroom.
Find me one Mark Dacascos porn. I'm sure that Sylvester Stallone's done more porn than him.
I know for sure Sylvester Stallone has done at least one.
He did one called The Italian Stallion.
Yep.
Which ended up being his moniker, the name, the thing that everybody referred to Rocky as. The Italian Stallion. And I'm sitting here going, that was his porn name too. What the fuck? Like, I'm going to take a little bit of my own life.
I've seen it.
Yeah, I have too. So I have officially seen more of Sylvester Stallone's junk than I really care to have ever seen.
I've seen Arnold's junk.
I've seen Robin Williams' junk.
I have not seen that.
Watch a movie called The Fisher King, one of his best films. It's a really great film. We did the film on one of our earlier podcast episodes. He played along, I think, alongside of Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges is like a shock jock DJ that inadvertently ruined this guy's life by setting this monster off that ended up killing his wife. And Robin Williams ends up homeless and crazy because of this murder that happened right in front of him. And I won't get into the rest of it, but there's a scene in it's called The Fisher King.
Fisher King.
It's a really great movie. You definitely should watch it. But it's one of those movies. It's not so much comedic as it is dramatic. He has a comedic flair to certain things that he does, but it is definitely a heavy drama. Like he was fantastic, and I'll forgive him for momentarily flashing his meat and two veg. Because basically there's this whole scene where he's in the park with Jeff Bridges and he's talking about how free he feels, and then he just strips off all his clothes and just stands there naked in the park, and you see his ass and you see his dick, and I'm seeing like, well, okay, I've seen Robin Williams' dick. I can officially say that I've seen more than I need. A lot of full frontal that I was ready for. His was not one of them. There's another movie he has his bare ass in, I believe, like he strips down to nothing in the middle of a school and then jumps off of the diving board in the pool area. It's like something like The World's Greatest Dad. Anything directed by Bobcat Goldthwait is worth watching. Look up he's got like maybe 3 or 4 movies. But his movies are really, really good. World's Greatest Dad, that I remember, that's one of them. And then the other one was God Bless America, which doesn't sound as bad as... God Bless America, that title alone, just looking at it, and you're like, I'm not going to watch that. Nope, not interested. But the movie itself is anything but God Bless America. It is his commentary on like the de-evolution of society, and this one guy who is just disgruntled and pissed off about it all, and this nihilistic teenage girl that follows him around thinking they're doing some Bonnie and Clyde shit when he has one agenda and she has another more nihilistic agenda going on, and it's a really, really good film. So those are two films I recommend. Huh? What?
Where are we taking our film?
Where are we taking our film? We've got a revenge plot brewing because Arnold Schwarzenegger has now cost Susie Izzard her job. And so now she becomes the main villain, right? So you have Booster versus Turbo Man, essentially. And I don't really know where to go with this. I just see some epic fight happening, and he somehow is just not fit for the fight anymore. And he realizes he's not fit for the fight, but Susie has all sorts of fucking rage energy going on, and his son has to step in for him.
You know what? You know how we should end it, though? Him coming to his senses, apologizing to Rita, his mom, his ex-wife.
Right.
And then, like, starting to reconcile.
Just a reconciliation of some sort. And
yes.
Then he realizes in the post-credits scenes that he forgot to get his grandson a toy. And we have our in for the sequel, because that's how they did this one, because they were definitely working for a sequel with that post-credits scene. But this is before post-credit scenes were a thing. So who sat and watched all the credits to the end to see that for Jingle All the Way?
I did, as my mom did.
Well, I thought you were surprised like I was. Fuck.
If I was, then you started explaining, oh wait, I do remember.
Okay. So, I'm thinking, I want one scene with Jake Lloyd. Now, do you remember in the beginning of the movie with him, and he walks into the bedroom where his son is, and he's trying to, like, oh, you got the purple belt, and he ties it around his head and does this weird karate thing. I want that to be the first thing that his son does when he breaks into the fight. The weird karate move that fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger tried to pull off. You know, just, what are you doing, dude? Like, you're an action star, but...
Untrained.
You're an action star, but you're not Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon here. Don't do that.
It's almost like, calm down, you're not your stunt double.
Right? I'm sorry, you're not Ralph Macchio. This is not the Karate Kid. It's just a purple belt. Put it away. And by the way, it is a purple belt and you tied it around your forehead. Stop. Either go to the... Just stop.
Oh, goodness.
I think that's where we're going with the film. There's going to be some epic battle, but he can't. This is how his son steps in, and I feel like this epic battle happens on the set of Turbo Man. So you have this fallout between Booster and Turbo Man, and they're both in their respective gear. And then Turbo Man fucking Jr. steps in because you know that Jake Lloyd's not as tall as him.
Yeah.
Right. So Turbo Man fucking Jr. steps in, but instead of being like Arnold Schwarzenegger with the muscle fighting, you know, because he's just a kind of fisticuffs guy, Jake Lloyd has decided to bring the whole Mighty Morphin Power, you know, kung fu shit to everything. You know? It's like, wait, what the hell's going on? Where are you getting... So he basically starts busting out some martial arts fucking moves for no reason, and his father's just sitting here like, I didn't train you to do that. Where the fuck did that come from? I've been taking Taekwondo and this, that, and the other thing for the past, 10 years, Dad. You didn't know that? You remember that belt that I got way back when? The karate belt that you didn't show up to watch me fucking get? I made a career out of that shit. I have a fucking dojo. You're trying to give me a job. I have a fucking job. What is your problem? You've never been there for anything.
Oh, God. You know what? Just for a callback, you have to have this in a scene somewhere where Jake Lloyd just cheers to his dad. I guess at his house, his little shamble apartment. It's like, here's to you, Dad.
Yeah, and just takes a drink. I want to say that Jake Lloyd takes on the show because it's going to be a good image for him to be able to say that not only does he own his own dojo now, but he is now the new face of Turbo Man, who's taken this into sort of a kind of kaiju fucking Mighty Morphin Power Rangers phase of the show.
So he's basically become the Jason David Frank of Turbo Man world.
Pretty much. So
Jason David Frank had a dojo and he was a Power Ranger.
Right. So you see where I'm going with it, though, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna make some parallels, some direct like spoofs of like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and the stuff they've done in the past. Yeah.
They had that in the original film.
That's essentially what Turbo Man was. Or I want to say that they were more like I want to say a show called
the Dementors. They were more like the little Power Rangers who went against Turbo Man.
They looked like the little robot, like a mixture between the little robot and the Power Rangers and the actual Power Rangers themselves, right?
Alpha 5.
Yeah, but it looked like they took that and then turned a bunch of them into Power Ranger colors.
Yeah.
So it was
now
him from.
Hear all of them start screaming, "Ay ay 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 ay!"
And now they sound like Jawa from the Star Wars. But you're making parallels to Star Wars. You're making parallels to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. You're getting some of that Power Ranger culture mixed in. Make it a little bit more heavily toned, though. Maybe even make a couple of the characters they have to fight against demented Teletubbies, just for the hell of it.
Oh God, no.
Why not? You never wanted to see somebody beat up a Teletubby before?
I don't want to see a Teletubby ever again.
Teletubbies are demonic. That baby in the sun, Jesus, that was frightening. What the hell? Why is this child the sun? Just this giant baby head. No. What planet are you from that your son is a baby head? That's terrifying. I come from the planet of baby head sun. So I think we leave it there. He defeats Susie. Susie slinks off to come and annoy him for the third movie. We're gonna have a secondary revenge plot with Susie in the third movie at some point. We can make a third movie for. This can be the start of a franchise now, where now there's just this back and forth. You got all these characters. It's just an ever-expanding universe. The Jingle All the Way universe. Everything has to be a franchise and a universe now. You have to be able to market everything about it.
Oh, fuck. Now we're going to have to get multiverses and everything for it.
Right? The multiverse of Jake Lloyd. I don't know. It's just somehow...
The multiverse of Turbo Man.
Somehow Darth Vader ends up stumbling into the universe there. I don't know. We're bringing all the incarnations of Jake Lloyd into this universe.
Jake Lloyd becomes Darth Vader.
Yeah, Jake Lloyd technically becomes Darth Vader, who is technically Hayden Christensen, not Jake Lloyd, because Jake Lloyd doesn't look like Hayden Christensen. And okay, my brain hurts. I'm done. It's done. It's baked. It's good. We're out. All right. I think that's all we're going to be able to do with a sequel for this fucking film. I agree. I agree. And so with that, you can find us literally on most social media. Of course, at this point, when I'm trying to promote our other shit, I'm going to trip on my tongue. Go to the place and the thing, and if you can decipher what I'm saying, you'll understand. We're over here on X, which used to be Twitter. We are also over here on Twitter, which used to be X, something to that nature. And we are also on Instagram, Facebook. We have 2 pages on Facebook. We have a very dormant, unearthed podcasting network, which is soon going to start featuring other podcasts from our network, along with podcasts from one of our sister shows, the Two Chicks Talking Flicks. We're going to start posting things in there for them. I'm also hopefully our friends over at Clockout Films would be willing to step into the little universe that is our Cinematic Anarchy Facebook page and start posting things of their own and promoting their own work. Because honestly, the stuff that they throw in our feed, some of the most hilarious things that I've ever heard of, like I just watched part of The Greasy Strangler, and let me tell you, the dong on that old man. I had to turn off the movie last night because I was both too tired and too sober to fucking watch what I was watching. I need to be fully awake and maybe a little high or a little drunk to be able to process that. It was
maybe a little both.
Go ahead and just watch the first 15 minutes of The Greasy Strangler. You'll understand what I mean. He sent a link, and I started watching it thinking, I'm going to watch a little bit of this, and then I'll catch up with it tomorrow. And 15 minutes in, I'm going, what the fuck am I watching? I mean, it is The Greasy Strangler, but, Big Ronnie, put the dick away. I don't understand why it has to be hanging out like that. That is an elephant trunk with gray hair. It's weird. That being said, I'm going to say it tonight. Drink some water, you fucking thirsty bitches. I'm adding a little twist. A little aggressive. Well, at the beginning of some podcasts, Omar has a little thing where he's like, all right, pussies, this has been your final warning. That's his entrance to... That was him giving us a warning shot for spoilers and all that other stuff. I said, embellish it a little bit. Do your thing. If you want to know what... I still need to get yours, by the way. If you want to hear what we do, just listen to the first couple minutes of the podcast, because almost every one of them has a warning. And sometimes it's Nico doing the warning, and sometimes I break Seth out, but I don't break Seth out all that often, because the warning that he did prominently has a dryer tumbling some heavy shit in the background, so you can just hear this clack, 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 clack. And it's like, that just sounded awful, man. You got to record again. Nope, it's done. And he was like, you got that? It's finished. Okay. And then occasionally I have like maybe 8 or 9 different warnings that I've done specifically for specific episodes, because some episodes needed an explanation for why we disappeared for a couple months, or some episodes needed an explanation of why I'm putting out subpar material that we recorded months ago. I have probably a total of 10 podcasts that I've never released, either because they are unfucking releasable, because I would have to edit so much there'd barely be anything there, or in the case of the last podcast that I did with Seth, we watched a movie that was so fucking bad we got halfway through recording and went, I have nothing to say about this shit, it was bad. And then we just stopped, and we were like, we can't put this out. Yeah, we'll watch something else next week and put something else out then. And we moved on.
Yeah, we watched a movie like that.
We watched an Alyssa Milano movie that we thought was terrible. Like, terrible, 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 terrible.
Oh, God, which one?
We watched the video game adaptation, the film Double Dragon, yes. Yes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Wait a minute.
I haven't seen it, but I remember...
Was it Mark Dacascos in that?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I think he was the guy. I'm going to have to look that up, because it was Scott Wolf that was one of the guys. I have to look this up before we head off. I know that we're going on 2 hours and 30 minutes for this particular episode, but Double Dragon, I have to find it. Just bear with me for 2 fucking seconds. The Double Dragon movie cast. It was Mark Dacascos playing Jimmy Lee. We were just talking about Mark Dacascos, and he is in one of the movies that we thought was so fucking bad that we couldn't do a full episode on it. And now that I'm thinking about it, it was so bad that we should have been able to do a full episode on it.
You know what? I'm gonna actually take a chance and actually watch it.
Please do, and tell me what you think.
I will.
And until then, drink some water, you thirsty bitches.